Welcome, everybody, to a brand new live episode of Game Time here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I'm telling you what, that song is so good. I start coming up with rhymes that are no good in my head while I'm listening to this. But
do me a favor. Play the intro again and turn your mic on and give me some of these rhymes.
Yeah, just give me some more.
That is my one request from you.
Y'all play it again, turn the mic on, and you better spit bars. If you gonna say it right now live, you need to make good on this. Nah, fam, you not gonna skip past this part of this show without it. We ain't letting this go. You better.
All right, let me see what I can do. Let me see. Getting down and getting funky. Bring the ladies to the club. The Outlaw is here with Mr. J and the Swaggy Bird. There we go. That's what I got. That's it. That's the best. That's the best I got.
You know what, Jay? I got to give Rocha some props. At least he didn't go, my name is Rocha, and I'm here to say you're on the Outlaw Nation every day. Like he could have done that.
Oh, terrible. Terrible, man. I'm already red. I'm so embarrassed I'm red.
Y'all, send in those StreamLabs for that. We have to applaud this man. Please send in the StreamLabs for that.
Oh, my God. And this is live on what we like to call YouTube. Somebody is recording this right now.
Yo, this is how we get this show picked up by another network like Show. This is exactly how we get this picked up by a network.
Oh, hilarious, man. Anyway, but well, as you see there, to my immediate right, Jay Washington and Winston Marshall joining me again this week. We got so much to cover, and of course, we're definitely going to get into that breaking news of Ezekiel Elliott and some of those Cowboys testing positive for COVID-19. So a lot to discuss here. Sean ain't wrong. Can we go back in time and stop John from doing that? Yeah, you know, just coming on the fly. All right, Jay, Winston, how are you guys doing? How was your weekend? Are you excited to talk a little bit of sports here?
Oh, I'm always excited to talk sports. I mean, it's been a long weekend. I just recently did, which y'all should check out. I didn't catch the name of the podcast, which is the problem, but I just did Chance Ellison's podcast.
Nice.
And they had me. We reviewed Fruitvale Station, which I'm going to be real is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
But it is emotionally taxing, and I don't think I was ready to go down that rabbit hole. But if anything, fits perfectly to everything we're going through right now.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with George Floyd, because there is a moment where one of the cops does put his knee on the back of Oscar Grant's neck. That movie is super spot on. So if you haven't seen it, please check that out.
Yeah, hell yeah. Fantastic film.
It was very stressful and trying not to be dealing with the internet this weekend because it's just that every turn there was something.
Yeah.
At every turn, every time you look at something, there was something else. Yep. And so I just really delved in deep into painting. Like I just painted most of the weekend because it's just like Winston said, when you watch Fruitvale Station, it is so parallel to what's going on today. Just like if you rewatch The Hate You Give, Monsters and Me, and some of these other movies. And so, like, I was so stressed I couldn't shave this weekend. You know what I'm saying? I look like I got wisdom right here on the side of the face.
I respect that, man. I respect it. Yeah, I had a bit of a tough day on Friday myself. Things picked up doing a couple of the shows that I did on the channel. Kind of woke up my spirits a little bit and then had a good little weekend. I think we decided to go out of town for sure, man. All this stuff that's been going on. I think July 4th weekend, we're just going to go disappear somewhere for like 3 days and don't look at our phones. Yeah. Was that?
I'm leaving next Monday to Thursday. I gotta go. I got to. I'm leaving something. I won't be here on Game Time next week.
Oh, okay. All right. So thanks for giving me the warning ahead of time, not day of. So I appreciate it. I will look for somebody to replace you, no doubt. But listen, I do want to give one shout out, and that's to Jay Washington, who is here on the show with me. He was fantastic last week on the Outlaw Nation show. We had such a great time setting everything on fire and having fun talking about the world, but also getting in deep about things that are going on in the world. He was incredible, and the fans absolutely enjoyed the hell out of it. So thank you, Jay, for being a part of it. Winston, I'll have you on soon. Yeah.
I had a blast, dude. I like Winston. So again, it was on Tuesday, and it's like it's Blurs in the Hood supposed to record Harley Quinn, do Focus P25, then do this. And so after we did Blurs, Winston looked at me and was like, I could come back and do Harley. I was like, that's an option? Like,
there was the funny thing is like I myself, my back was a little against the wall, but I saw the look in Jay's eyes where like normally, Jay is very like, I'm Jay Washington, son of the Mad Titan.
I'll do it.
And he was just like, all right, and that's Blurs in the Hood. Harley Quinn shit. And I was like, bro, do you want a nap? You look like you need a nap.
Man. Self-care is important, man. Nowadays, self-care is crazy important. Yes, I absolutely get it. Well, speaking of self-care, let's just jump into our first story here. And that is my man Ezekiel Elliott testing positive for COVID-19. This was pretty shocking news. It just came over the wire here for a lot of people. This must be incredibly shocking for you, Winston, because, obviously this is your team, the Dallas Cowboys, and he isn't the only one. There were a number of other people that haven't released too many names who tested positive for COVID-19. There were also some Houston Texans who tested positive for COVID-19. So basically, if you're in Texas, man, you're in some trouble. There has already been reports of the level of cases that have really kind of skyrocketed. 6 out of the last 7 days, they've had the highest number of cases per day. Every day, 6 out of the last 7 days. And this is on the heels of Texas opening up almost 75% of itself in an effort to kind of show that, hey, this isn't that big of a deal. We can handle it. Well, now city officials are saying they're already starting to implement or consider a new wave of shutdowns across the state, not just in Houston. And it's important to note that all these people who tested positive for COVID-19 did not get it at their team facilities or were not working out at their team facilities at the time that they might have contacted it. So let's start with you, Wiz. You're a Dallas Cowboys fan, man, and you've been feeling this story. This could shut down the entire season, man. How serious is this?
Oh, it's not just this. College football is probably not going to happen either. I saw a tweet that said the state of Alabama added 1,000 new corona cases overnight. The 7-day average now stands at 724 cases, which has increased 98% since June 5th. So, that's the thing. As a society, I'm going to get to Zeke in a second because that
right. Well said.
But all that being said, we as a society have not taken this as seriously as we should have. The other graphic that I saw today is some of the countries that had it the worst, like Italy, for example.
Yeah.
But we thought Italy's just going to die off. There's going to be no more Italy. Even they are at all-time low new cases. Their thing has gone down because we made the decision as a country that we were tired of quarantine and this was a hoax and everything else. We opened up prematurely, and now we are already seeing the repercussions of this. The only way that this works is if everybody sticks to it. Mm-hmm. And when you have situations, I do not blame the Dak party for this, but I do think that set a precedent because the Dak party happened 6 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It's no way he caught it he tested positive now. Right. But it set a precedent, and it let them think that it doesn't really matter. We're fine. We're do whatever. What I'm genuinely concerned about is because what a lot of people are now talking about that they weren't necessarily saying before is what the repercussions, even if you have a low-grade version of COVID, has on your body as a whole. Yeah. You're seeing people that are needing to use oxygen for the rest of their lives. You're seeing people that have lost kidneys and random things because they're saying it's not really a respiratory virus. It's more of a blood vessel virus. So it's just screwing up everything that it touches.
Yeah.
And so what I'm genuinely concerned about is, all right, you look at someone like Zeke, his explosiveness is what makes him such an effective back.
Yeah, great point.
If he really ends up feeling this, his lungs could be fucked. And then that's his career. You know what I'm saying? He may survive, but that could be his career. Absolutely. And I 1,000% agree that we're in this weird fucking situation because Texas being one of the states that decided to open up when they felt like it, you're seeing that backlash. It does not surprise me that these are the two teams that are showing these numbers right now.
Yeah, Jay, you see this happening. As I said earlier, what they've been saying about the city of Houston, about Texas, it's currently in the throes of a major COVID-19 surge, setting new record for hospitalizations in 6 of the past 7 days. This is happening just 3 days after they started to open up about 75%. And they are one of 20 states, including Florida, Georgia, Arizona, and Washington, with NFL teams that have recorded increases in COVID-19 infections. And this is on the heels of the NFL's chief medical expert saying in early June, that he was very optimistic that football would be played in the fall. Are they just taking the hits now to get over it so they can play in the fall? Is this like a concerted effort to put these men at risk?
It could be.
Yeah.
It could. I mean, that's something nobody thinks about. You know, we keep talking about and hearing about herd immunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
We keep hearing about this. People who may have it may or may not get it a second time. We keep hearing about it. And now when Winston just said the blood disease part, here's the problem with that, and not a bad thing. This is why it's spreading, because nobody seems to know what to tell people.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You hear 1 minute it's a respiratory thing, so people who are on oxygen is because they were coughing so much and it causes scarring on the lungs and it's scarring on the brachial tubes. Understandable. But now when you hear it's a blood disease, now people are like, what the fuck is it, for a lack of better word?
Yeah.
And when you have where you have, on one hand, actual scientists, actual people working with the virus, actual people studying the virus, telling you what's happening. Yeah. But then on the other hand, you have people who've never done shit in science in their life saying, oh, this isn't the real thing that's happening. Right. And that becomes a conflicting issue. Texas, anything, look, Bible Belt on South, all of them are going to have it. Let's just call it for what it is. The reason being, in case people don't understand, they were the first ones to have the pushback against everything. Mm-hmm. They were the ones to keep saying, and I hate using it this way, it's a liberal hoax. Why the hell did we make a pandemic, a virus, political? So when you have heard people like Dak Prescott, who had the party 6 weeks ago, and again, 6 weeks, anybody would have been had it done by now, right? Yeah. Done. So you hear this, oh, well, he now is diagnosed with it. I've said this before numerous times. I have an issue with the way news is revealed like that, and especially when it comes to cases. Okay. Because the word confirmed cases does not automatically mean people are in the hospital or admitted. True. It just means you've either had it or do have it. Yeah. That's all confirmed cases mean. So I'm not trying to, lower the severity of it. But when people hear that, they're just like, oh my God, it's spiking. Again, testing is available. That's one thing. But at the same time, you have these states who've been nonchalant about it from the beginning. So what's going to happen? I don't think this will shut down the NFL, because the only thing, if everybody starts getting tested, and like right now, all of the high profile players have it, we're talking 2 weeks from now, we're talking 4th of July weekend. That still doesn't impede, it really doesn't impede training camps, OTAs, and preseason. Right. So it's like it's one of those, if we can knock it out, if you get it, you're done. You're good. It isn't one of those stopping. It isn't going to stop things. And it's just almost as similar to college football, because college football doesn't start till August, if I'm not mistaken, August, September.
Right. So
you get it now, you're good per se. And I think that's one thing I think a lot of people forget to listen, because we've heard the COVID spell, no matter what, is 2 weeks. Depending on how severe your situation is. If you're in the high risk categories, it will be longer and be more prolonged on you. Mm-hmm. But you have to look at it on those different levels. And there's so many different things to look at, so much different data, so many different statistics, and so many different ways to analyze this that is confounded. And a lot of people don't know. So they'll just jump to that, oh, it's no season. You know what I'm saying? I'm not discrediting anything you said, Winston, by any means. You know what I'm saying? But you get where I'm coming from, right, bro?
Yep.
I hear you. I still think that this is the beginning of the end of this season, and I'll tell you why. I think from the standpoint that I agree, Jay. They have said it's really about 2 to 3 weeks. Some people I've seen it's a little bit longer. It depends on your conditions. It depends on how severe of a case you catch, etc. But here's the issue: is that if this is happening right now, you've left people up to their own devices. Mm-hmm. The NBA is going with the structured situation where we're locking you down at Walt Disney World, and this is how we're going to do it. These players are allowed to run around and do whatever the hell they want, unless you start locking them down right around the time when it's time to get ready and leave. Because they say it takes about a 2-week period to incubate if it's going to happen. Yeah, training camp and shit starts in 3 weeks?
Supposed to be, They're still working out the particulars.
That's OTAs. Sure. Yeah, the OTAs.
If that's what the case is, you have to start locking these dudes down right now. And guess what they're not going to do? Let you lock them the fuck down. And so that being said, you're literally just asking for this shit to just get in there and spread like a mother. And even if they say that they're going to do no crowd games, even if that's the route that they're going to go, the only way that this works is they 1,000% have to go into isolation for these practices and for these games. That's it. They can't be in the public. They can't be in the public.
Billionaires who are not, granted, they're like, even if we don't have the in-crowd revenue coming in, that advertising money is what they want. Yeah. And so that becomes again, I understand everything. Like, you got to isolate this. You got to make sure you can control what this is. But when you're talking about billionaires who have proven to not give a fuck about people, all they care about is that revenue.
Well, and that's the thing you have to look at. This is a very complex situation because you're right. I mean, the players, this is your workforce. The players are your workforce, right? We've seen this out of the NFL. We saw that meatpacking factory in the Midwest there where they allowed these people to come into work, and it's like 75% of them got COVID-19 because the owner of the factory wanted to keep making his money, wanted everyone to keep making money and him staying in his situation. How many of these NFL owners are friends of Trump, are Republicans who are a part of this mentality of this COVID-19 being some sort of a hoax to try to get Trump stopped from being reelected, all this ridiculousness when, like you just pointed out, Winston, if they had reacted like Italy had reacted, which was quick, shut everything down, put everything back in a house, don't joke around, have the police walk the streets and throw your butt back into your house if you're not covered up. If they had handled the business correctly and Americans were willing, that's another part of this. It isn't just the government. Americans were willing to listen to what was being said rather than protesting out on the streets initially. And I don't mean the Black Lives Matters protests. I mean those people protesting the shutdowns. Then we could have got a handle of this way earlier. And now we're seeing not necessarily a second wave, but we're seeing a surge in these places that have red state governors or red state mayors or senators who are opening up too quickly for political reasons. And I think that's a mistake. And how many of these people are going to be willing to go back and shut things down? How many owners are really going to shut down the season? They're going to find a way to play. I guarantee you they're going to find a way to play.
Go ahead, Jay, because I have 1 point.
Okay, go ahead. Since you got one, go ahead. Because I got to.
So here's why I think that this and college football aren't going to happen. You have a better chance of basketball, baseball, etc. The one thing we've said a million times about COVID, pre-existing conditions matter. This is the most violent sport apart from UFC and shit on earth.
Right.
So the minute somebody breaks a knee and it fucks up a knee and needs surgery, ends up with any sort of situation where they're now sort of like they are already immunocompromised from the simple fact that you now have to go and do invasive shit to their bodies. Yeah. Like, yes, they have higher metabolisms because they're elite athletes, but the minute something breaks in you, whether it's a bone or a ligament or anything else like that, your body gets weak because it has to deal with that shit.
Right.
This is so dangerous for this sport because if it hits them when they're at a physically low moment, it genuinely could kill some of these players. Yeah. That is why I think this is a little bit more dire than, say, a basketball where, you have ligament tears and shit, bones broken and stuff doesn't happen nearly as much in that sport as it does in this one.
I mean, we'll get to that in a little bit because there are some NBA players who have spoken about that and might disagree with you, Winston. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Jay, what were you saying?
You brought up earlier these certain states opening up and people going out to protest. People were only going out to protest being able to go out because American government at its head was saying you don't need to be in the house.
Right. Liberate Michigan, liberate blah, blah, blah. Right.
Right. And I hate for people to say, oh, you're just trying to make it political. You guys are just let me tell you something. I don't have a political ideology, so I don't give a fuck either way. Let's just let you know that ahead of time. Mm-hmm. But it starts from the top. If American government at the federal level would have been like, look, this is what we need to do as a country.
Right.
Boom. Everybody would have fell in line with it eventually because it was like, okay, this is leadership at the highest level.
Right.
But because that didn't happen, and again, at the highest level, you have, just open up these states, open up Michigan, open up all these states that are needed for elections and things like that. That's where it becomes political. Yeah. And then you have those, like you said, governors following suit because they don't want to upset this dude, this orange fuck muppet. They don't want to make him mad. And so when it comes to California, because everybody thinks California is this super liberal state, which people realize outside of San Francisco and Los Angeles, that is not the case.
Not the case at all. Hell, not even in Los Angeles. Do you know how many parties I drove around and saw this weekend at graduation parties? Well, over 20 to 30 people outside. I was in Manhattan Beach for brunch over the weekend with my girlfriend. Stacks and stacks of
Manhattan, Redondo, Huntington, all the beach towns are doing what they want to do. So people have to realize when they try to think California is this big liberal hub and liberal bubble, it's not. It's not even just Los Angeles proper. It's just the fact that Los Angeles is such a big city that its numbers equate things along with San Francisco, where when their numbers go a certain way, the state becomes a certain way. So that's how that goes. But you have to have this, and I get it. Yeah, Winston, when you do have surgeries, you become, because your body has to deal with that. Again, take it from somebody who had to have life-saving surgery on his throat 2 years ago because of an abscess in his throat. Now, granted, they are high-level athletes, but again, when we hear cases, I think we also need to, because I had, everything is clickbait, no matter what it is. Sure. No matter who it's from, because it's just the headline you click on. They need to have more specifics of, well, Ezekiel Elliott has COVID-19, but he is asymptomatic, or he is currently dealing with symptoms. And because I think that gives people a better understanding, because you hear now, and you hear when somebody has it, most people automatically jump to, oh shit, they're sick.
Right. Well, and this is the thing. Ezekiel initially tweeted HIPAA. 2 question marks. Instead of admitting it or talking about it or getting ahead of it, he wanted to complain that it had been revealed, because he said that's the HIPPA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act.
Well, he has a point. Here's a point.
Yes and no, because this is not a normal situation. This is an unusual situation.
You have to allow. I used to work as a medical insurance biller. Okay. You have to allow that information to be out. Now, your case can be confirmed. You can say there is a member of the Dallas Cowboys affected. You can say that. It's up to somebody to reveal it's Ezekiel Elliott. So in that regards, he does have a point.
I got you. So he didn't give permission for them to reveal it.
He didn't give his name. Like when Donovan Mitchell came out. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the reason why that's a big deal, because most other celebrities didn't mind saying it. Remember, Ezekiel Elliott is known as a troublemaker. So now all of a sudden his reputation gets further dragged in the mud. Well, your dumbass is probably out doing X, Y, and Z, which I was 2 seconds away from saying anyway, because he is a dumbass that continues to get himself in trouble. That is, I think, where I side with him as far as like throwing out HIPAA like that is because, like, why are you putting my business in the streets? If you want to say the team, sure, I think that is feasible knowledge, but to put my name out there, you're literally dragging, like when it happened with Tom Hanks, that doesn't affect his reputation. It was like, Tom was on set, another guy had it, damn, that's messed up. When Ezekiel Elliott, unless you say Zeke had been at home, his maid happened to bring it into the household, and even then, we probably wouldn't believe the story because we know him to be a troublemaker. This makes it seem like he did this again.
Well,
like he fucked up again.
Yeah, and that's fair, Winston. There's a pattern here, not just the being at the Dak Prescott parties, but also him and Dak working out together, violating social distance guidelines. They got crap for that too. So who knows what's going on behind the scenes? In your mind, you start to go, well, he must be doing a lot of other stuff that we're not even seeing that's putting him in trouble because he thinks he's unstoppable as a premium athlete at a young age. Thinks he can fight this thing off. And a lot of people around the country who haven't lifted a weight or ran a mile think they can fight this thing off and have no concept how it's even affecting people at this peak physical condition like Ezekiel Elliott is. It does not judge. Yeah.
But I think we don't see that. I think the only thing I have to rebuke you with that, have a rebuttal against that, John, is we don't know how it's affecting him. We just know
his agent said that he's doing fine and it's okay. So he may have been past it. And to be fair to his agent, Rocky Arcino, a lot of people are saying Rocky contacted the media. That's not how it happened. Apparently the names leaked and Ezekiel was the biggest name. And then the media reached out to the agent and he confirmed it. So maybe the agent confirmed it without consulting with Zeke, but maybe Zeke's complaints about HIPAA is saying, why was it revealed?
I'm just talking about when you say the people who have never lifted a weight or ran a mile, and they're different because we, as of right now, we just basically hear Ezekiel Elliott is asymptomatic and just has COVID-19.
Right.
That's all we're hearing, really. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because we can't know about any of the other players, because apparently the NFL, the Cowboys said, and this is all the teams are probably going to issue this statement, due to federal and local privacy laws, we are unable to provide information regarding the personal health of any of our employees. We are following all CDC, local, and NFL guidelines to keep our facilities safe, including limiting employee access. So they're going to say all that standard, but yeah, they can't reveal it because, as Winston mentioned, HIPAA and other things, they can't reveal the names. And I think this is such an unusual situation. You have to reveal how many people have contacted this who are players in the NFL, especially if you're a player and you're about to go work out and go into these facilities, even in a limited capacity. You just have no idea who has it. Could be trainers, could be staff, could be people in the offices. You just never know who you're going to contact with. Could be in the parking lot, for God's sakes. You never know who you're going to be in contact with. So I think it behooves the NFL to release all the names.
Down on Easy Street. Hey,
yeah.
Never know who you got. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Well, let's jump into some super chats while you guys are figuring that out. Mayra M said, Rogan, thanks for my daughter. Shout out on Friday. Random question. Why do sports analysts and commentators seem like they're yelling like on ESPN? Well, it's A, for attention. B, they see the Stephen A. Smith $6 million a year guideline and blueprint, rather, and they're like, I need to follow that. And B, if everyone else is yelling, you're going to yell too to be heard. So that's just kind of how it works there, I think.
Let me tell you something, John Rocha. You're talking about LeBron James later, okay? LeBron James, who has taken the NBA to heights that Michael Jordan could have never reached, okay? Winston A. Marshall, I know you're looking at me like you want to say Kobe Bryant, but Kobe Bryant.
No, you just always, you're Stephen A. always in the same way that when I started Obama, I always had to say, let me be clear. You always say LeBron James to get you into Stephen A. Smith. You can't start with another athlete to save your life. You couldn't say Tom Brady. You couldn't say J.J. Watt. You have to say LeBron James to do it.
It's true. LeBron, that gets you in there. Jay replaced us. Of course, Scott Johnson replaced that Bears logo with a tight end symbol. Oh, there you go. Come on, guys. You got to get better with these. I think these are good, but you got to get better with these. Let's see who else we got. Roll through here. Haskell, he said, we need a Calvin cameo today for Winston. LOL. What does that mean? What's a Calvin cameo?
Calvin from your show, dog. That was on your the dude that was like,
oh, Calvin. Calvin don't come out in the day.
Bro, you need to see.
Oh, yeah, Winston, you got to watch Calvin on the show with me.
You got to guess that black dude named Calvin, okay?
Yeah.
Like, Calvin got a job.
Calvin got a job.
Yeah.
I thought that's what that was.
No.
Calvin is on there like, he literally came in, was like, John, I got a white woman and a half-black teenager need to tell you their thoughts. Like, come on in. And then the black teenager's like,
it was crazy.
Was this a guest or?
Yeah, he comes on every week, and I never know what madness he's going to bring. And this week, he brought on his baby mama, who is not his girlfriend, but his baby mama and the baby. So it was an interesting conversation to say the least.
Jay was on.
Yeah, when Jay was on near the tail end of the show.
I cut out like 20 minutes before y'all ended. Maybe that's why.
That's
exactly the best 20 minutes of the show. Real quick, we got some Streamlabs have rolled through. Keep sending in your Streamlabs. Keep sending your super chats. What are your thoughts about this? Do you think the NFL is doing the right thing here by kind of barring employee access by not revealing the names? Do you think Ezekiel Elliott, think more names should be revealed? What are your thoughts about all of this? And should they shut the whole season down? Do you think Winston's right? They might be shutting down the season or shutting down college football as well, which we'll get to in a little bit in the show. Brandon Buck says, are you ready for news to come out that the Yankees also cheated in 2017? Get ready to eat crow, you annoying Yankees fans. Well, being a Yankees fan, I will tell you this. If it comes out that they were sign stealing and going through all the histrionics the Houston Astros did, banging trash cans and hiding stuff inside their shirts, then absolutely they deserve the full punishment of whatever the MLB is going to deliver to them.
But there's no such thing as a punishment. What do you get?
But if that happens, then I think the argument that we were like, oh, well, it could have been the Yankees or the Dodgers that could have won then you just need to hand the World Series to the Dodgers and go, so all y'all motherfuckers cheated then?
Yeah, that's true. That's the only logical situation there, because the logical answer, because again, the Dodgers technically become world champions. It's like, it's like the punishment they had. What, some fines and some suspensions?
I'm gonna tell you right now, and I know we're gonna get to the MLB. This is why they need to sort their shit out right the fuck now. They already look terrible as a sport with all the cheating and not punishing the Astros.
Yep.
And the sport has been dying as is. You can't afford to not have a damn season.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Very good point. And yeah, I mean, I'm already going one step further than most of the Astros fans did. I'm already saying I'm okay with the punishments and they deserve it. Ha. All right. Mr. Datbo donated, said, I would be more willing to go out and help restart the economy if everyone was wearing a mask, but they're not. So I'll just donate to you guys instead. Black Lives Matter protest is worth the risk. Your haircut is not. Fair. All right, fair.
I thought he
was
taking a shot at us, and I was like,
no. Well, we got how many we got? Oh gosh, we got almost 200 of you all watching us live. Thank you so much. But only 59 likes. Swing that cursor over, hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button. But Jesus Christ, get us over 100 likes for God's sakes. Give us some love up in this piece. And let's move on to our next show. I'm sure we'll have more information as this thing goes along, as more and more players get revealed, or as more and more, people get found out for having this thing. We are going to hear from people about what's going to happen with the NFL. And if this season, as Winston is saying, if this season just might be canceled in the long run because of the fear, or if the NFL is just going to go screw it, it's a herd mentality type thing, herd immunity rather, and we're going to find a way through it.
Rocha, do you see this comment by Adalia Cunningham?
Do I?
It's the two things that Jay hates most in a comment.
Wait, hey, what this? Hey, Jay just signed in. # release the tight end cut. Oh wow.
Because he's been the biggest fuck the Snyder cut shit.
What?
So you throw the how did we
not get into that, Jay? How did we not get into that last week? Oh my God!
You don't want that argument with you.
I will bring it. Please, I will put water all over your smoke. Water all over your smoke, son.
Okay, I'll give you a second to just say this. It's pointless because it sets a terrible precedent for what they're trying to do. Because now every fan thinks they can bitch, moan, and groan and complain on the internet. # release this cut, release that cut. Directors know that they are not getting a directorial cut when they sign on to a major production studio. Okay, there is a blueprint, a guideline. And Warner Brothers said, we don't want no dark shit. We want it lighter. So henceforth, the Snyder cut is just a way for them to get new subscribers to HBO Max. Hope the fuck they kick on and get all this money. Now they're spending more than $30 million. # release the kiss my dick cut.
Whoa.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, see Adalia, see what you did, but in all honesty, I'm the one that called attention to the comments. So I'll go ahead and I'll take that dub.
Now that you heard my respected colleagues' take, I shall counter and say to you, this is a completely singular thing with too many X factors to be a generalized a situation that other directors will step in. Yes, David Ayer is trying to push the Suicide Squad cut, but maybe 10 people are really on board with that overall. So it's not going to happen. And it's not like director's cuts haven't happened before throughout the history of time. They have numerous times. So it's not something new. What is unusual about this is the amount of people that wanted to see this thing. So HBO Max, reading the tea leaves, said, okay, we'll do it, and we'll do it this way. It won't be canon. It won't be connected. It'll be 6 everythings. And yes, they're using it to get subscribers, so it makes sense. But this is not a precedent that is being set at all in any way, shape, or form, because there's no way studios are going to be like, look
at the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2 and all these different things. Like, listen, there is, again, if this was an indie
Donner cut was
film
25 years later, man.
Yeah, but people still bringing the shit up to this. That's what I'm saying. Using it. It's a precedent. God damn it, Adalia, you're lucky you remember the squad. Winston just sit. Look at Winston, how you just sit.
I know, you're just sitting back. Well, let's move on.
Just love to watch the world burn, bitches.
Joker over here. Well, let's move. Speaking of divided opinions on the subject, let's move on to this. That is Kyrie Irving and Austin Rivers. This is happening now in the NBA. Remember when we were going to open on July 31st? Well, that actually might be in some doubt now, giving some new information and meetings that have happened here in the NBA. They were scheduled to resume the regular season at the end of July in Orlando in a 1,600-person bubble, essentially. But Kyrie Irving has emerged as a leading voice against a return to basketball. This happened on a Friday call, I think a Zoom call with everyone, a lot of players and some staff there from the NBA, reportedly telling his fellow players on a conference call that he's willing to give up everything, and that means his career, in order to focus on social reform. On that same call, other players voiced concerns over health issues as the coronavirus pandemic still poses a threat. Dwight Howard being one of those people. I don't know why he's talking, but Dwight Howard said, I agree with Kyrie. Basketball entertainment period isn't needed at this moment and will only be a distraction. Sure, it might not distract us, the players, but we have resources at hand and majority of our community don't have. And the smallest distraction for them can start a trickle-down effect that may never stop, especially the way the climate is now. So he was saying all of this, but then Kyle Kuzma tweeted out and said, some of us want to hoop and compete. Don't get that twisted. Apparently LeBron James wasn't on that call, and LeBron James has been one of those people leading the charge for the NBA to return because he wants to win a championship with the Lakers, but also because he says he can use his platform in the NBA to highlight Black Lives Matters situations and the police brutality stuff that they are protesting. And that's not out of the norm for LeBron. Remember, LeBron's the one that encouraged the Heat players to wear their hoodies after Trayvon Martin was murdered by George Zimmerman. They've worn I Can't Breathe shirts. So this is the NBA is a very progressive league. This has happened before. Austin Rivers, however, countered this by saying us coming back would be putting money in all our pockets. With this money, you can help out even more people and continue to give, more importantly, your time and energy towards the Black Lives Matter movement, which I'm 100% on board with. So this is an interesting development in this NBA situation, because now this could come to verbal blows on social media once they open training camps up and the media is in there to interview these players. What do you guys think about this?
I know what this is. It's what LeBron said initially. Remember, LeBron said, we don't want to play without fans? Yeah, that's what this is. They already said if the NBA has gone to this extreme lengths to make sure that the 1,600 people kept within this community are going to be safe, it's nothing about players' health. And also, the Kyrie to say it takes a distraction away, and LeBron to be like, we've done this before, so stop doing it. It's they don't want to play without fans. That's the literal thing it is.
You think that's what it is?
I literally think the players that are saying it are like, we don't want to play without fans, because they thought LeBron was all on the bandwagon with it. So that we don't want to play without fans, we don't have to have a season. We can chill, or you know what I'm saying, even if they got to just a bridge season, call it a day, boom. But now you got to play, you got to train. They got everything set up the right way. It'd be a different story if there were a bunch of unknown variables, but the NBA has put everything in place to deal with every potential unknown variable that is presented. That is them being on hot garbage.
Wow. Okay. Winston, thoughts?
I don't agree with that. In knowing that this has been a hot topic over the weekend, I decided to watch First Take this morning, and it blows my mind how sometimes Max Kellerman is more pro-black than Stephen A. Smith is.
Why does everybody's realized that Max Kellerman got to be Max cookout, dog?
Like Max Kellerman is like out in these streets, like watching Insecure and shit, and like rolling with all the young black people, whereas Stephen A. Smith like is still upset that the Cosby Show will never be representative of the black community ever again. Like it's just, Smith a lot of times rings true as like an older black dude, and that comes with a little bit more. It comes with a little bit more of a conservative mindset within the black community, not conservative, but conservative.
Yeah.
So here's my take on it. I do not disagree with Kyrie Irving in the fact that, like, it's funny because I never said I would agree with Kyrie Irving, his flat earther ass. But let's be really, really honest about why this has happened the way that this has happened.
Yeah.
The Black Lives Matter movement has had this massive resurgence, because the George Floyd video was so fucked up.
Yeah.
When someone gets shot, it is so instantaneous. It's such a quick moment, et cetera, et cetera. It's fucked up to see, but it doesn't hit the same way as watching someone be suffocated to death for almost 9 full minutes.
Yep.
That's the first thing. And the second and more important one, honestly, there has been no new entertainment. There's been no live sports. There has been nowhere you're allowed to go. People are in their houses. And guess what you are not allowed to do because of that? Look away from this. Yeah. This has been the only thing that has been in people's mind's eye right now. And so while on the one hand, I do want to get back to a place of normalcy, I do believe the players that are genuinely saying this have a point.
Yeah.
You were immediately going to have some people that were like, because either it was the hot thing to do or because they have nothing else to look at right now, are going to be, once sports comes back, oh, well, that's fucked up. But yo, you see LeBron fucking put up 40 points last night? That is going to take over a large part of the narrative. I guarantee you the first week the NBA is back, all of this, like not just sports media, all the media. The NBA is back, and wow, what a thing is going on! It's in Walt Disney World, like it's we are immediately going to lose a part of this news cycle. That's
go ahead. Sorry.
So that's my thing. Now on the flip side, and this is something that what is his name? Jay Williams, I believe.
Jay Williams, the former college ball player for the Duke. Yeah, Jay Williams.
So he was on talking with them too, and I give him credit because he said, now here's the actual problem that I think some of these ball players that are like, we just want a ball. If you're a superstar like Kyrie, if you're a superstar like Kevin Durant, if you're a superstar like Giannis, you got your money.
Yeah.
You're fine. You have endorsements, etc. But some of these second and third stream players are kind of, even though the basketball players tend to have higher salaries per average than a lot of other sports, they are living check to check if you're not a superstar in the league. And so to have gone this long without money, let alone you are also concerned about then the people like now, and this I sort of agree and don't agree with, you're not in stadiums, so you're not bringing those jobs back. But a lot of people that are a part of the team that have also been furloughed right now because the team has nothing to do, they're not making money either. So there's this weird split right now where it's again the same way we were talking about COVID. Do you sacrifice the economy to try and bring up health, or do you sacrifice some people's health to save the economy? Yeah. This to me feels like, do you sacrifice the economy of some of the people that are involved in the NBA versus social justice? Because yes, LeBron has a platform to further build this up, but you know what LeBron necessarily hasn't put all his energy into when all the distractions were around? Sure, he supported Kaepernick and said all sorts of stuff. I mean, he went at Drew Brees, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
But his message was not nearly as clear to people when they had other shit to worry about. Yeah. When they were more concerned about going to see Black Widow and see LeBron versus Giannis. You know what I'm saying? The minute you have these distractions back, guess what they're going to do? Distract people.
I think that's a fantastic point you just made, Winston, because you're right. Because, I mean, LeBron says this, and this, but he could unironically be undercutting that movement by distracting people because basketball is back. And no matter how many T-shirts you wear, no matter how much protests you have within the game, like a moment of silence or the hands up, even the fists up, all of that, people forget as soon as that whistle is blown and the balls and the first foul is called. All of that will be forgotten by the end, no matter how much vocal love you give this cause and this protest. It will be forgotten. You're right. Once the theaters come back, there's nothing that that certain people who've been against this idea of COVID, ruling the news cycle would love more than to have things come back so that people will be distracted from it. People won't be focused on it. So you're right. This is why it's an interesting situation. And it was always a pipe dream that people thought you were going to get the entire NBA and all the NBA players on board with one particular mindset. That is not how the NBA is built. The NBA, because it's progressive, numerous mindsets exist within the NBA and have no shame speaking what their truths are to whatever media member is around or whatever outlet is around, or even going to their own social media. And Donovan Mitchell expressed this to The Athletic. He said that it could increase their injuries. Mitchell is in line for a max level extension this summer, and dozens of other players are set to hit free agency in the next few months. And a major injury could be the difference between millions in guaranteed dollars or a spot in the NBA's unemployment line if they're hurt because of the unusual nature of bringing players back and putting them under this bubble and maybe even exposing them, or just being like kind of out of basketball shape, who's in shape, who's not in shape, who's desperate to stay on the court and could make some mistake that could be a career-ending injury for another star player. That's certainly in play. And don't forget, Florida, the Department of Health reported more than 2,500 new cases of coronavirus, a state record on Saturday. Central Florida, where the NBA will create its bubble, has been hit particularly hard. So what kind of dream scenario do you think that it won't in some way, you won't in some way have coronavirus slide in under that bubble somehow and infect some of these players? So I see the logic on both sides, absolutely, which is what makes this an interesting moment in Adam Silver's tenure, Jay. He has a commissioner. He has to kind of navigate one of the most difficult minefields any commissioner has ever had to navigate in their career. This situation itself could make or break his commissionership.
I I will agree with that. And I also do agree with the points both of you all just brought up. I definitely do understand that. I see it from every perspective and every angle. Yeah. Again, when you talk about those players who have those high revenue contracts, they're good no matter what. Don't matter. I ain't got to play. Guess what? I'm still sitting on my shoe deal. Forget my NBA money. I'm sitting on my shoe deal money.
Right. But also, just to piggyback off, I'm going to let you finish your point, Jay. So Corey Scott Johnson said in the thing, the average basketball salary is $2 million. But what you have to keep into consideration: A, taxes; B, you got to pay out all your team; and C, that is per game. You don't get that shit up front at the start of the year, and it's like, here's $2 million. Good luck. It's you play the game, you get a game check. You play the game, you get a game check. And so
also, literally, their reps have to get paid too.
Right. So that's what I'm saying, is that money has legitimately stopped. So like it would like you would hope that people would do that shit in a more appropriate manner. But that's the thing to remember. So again, the superstars that have made more than the millions that they would ever need, again, they'll be fine. But those lower level players that maybe they make right at the 2 million, right? That's over the course of 12 months. That's not all up front. And God help you if you have a decent house, you got to take care of your family and pay all this other shit out. Like,
And you want your kids going to a good school. You got all that you're paying for as well. Maybe you're taking care of your family, your mother, her house, your family, their house. Like, there's all kinds of stuff you have to factor into the situation.
That's the thing too. You have those. A lot of players, we forget about that. A lot of players ain't just making this money for them.
Right.
Like, you have players that are second and third generation NBA families, which more than likely may be okay. But you have many who we hear like the stories about. They don't have that. They don't have this lineage and backing, and literally everything falls on them. And so again, $2 million for the season, 82 games. You got to play a game sometimes to get paid, then practice and all that. But then again, like you said, taxes, fees, and everything. I do look at it as both ways. It can be a distraction. I will agree. Yeah, I will definitely agree to that. But I think also at the same time, when you looked at when football started overseas, when soccer has started one way or another,
started. Yeah.
When that started, that was that slow inkling into normalcy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you start hearing that NASCAR is running, that slow inkling into normalcy. And again, whether they finally figure out what they're going to do with Major League Baseball, that slow inkling. So if it wasn't for the Ezekiel Elliott thing we just talked about, the NFL was full steam ahead. Let's just keep it real. So unfortunately, and as much as I've been about it, Winston, you've been about it. We know this got to be an ongoing conversation right in your face nonstop. It cannot go nowhere. But it was going to hit a brick wall at one point. And I think, unfortunately, remember, there is a point in October, normally in October, where every single major American sport is running at one time.
Very true.
There's a point in October. So we're at June. July will be here. These months, because we've been locked down and everything's just been meshing together, are flying by. So no matter what, unfortunately, we were going to hit that brick wall. I do not want us to hit this brick wall. I have said it for the longest. If we're amplifying Black voices, if we're amplifying Black media and Black things that the world need to see, do not make this momentarily. And that's the issue we may run into, because no matter how much we feel and many others feel that we need to keep this going, there are still going to be those who have the power to push the buttons, that write the checks, that are going to be that wall.
Yeah. And sometimes, and listen, I don't want to cast aspersions here, but you got to look at the situation. I mean, I absolutely respect LeBron James as a player. Certainly as a social justice presence. He's been on the front lines at times verbally, maybe not down there protesting physically, but he's certainly been on the front lines with the platform that he uses. But you can't deny that there's probably a piece of him that wants to come back to win one more title. And that is a legacy situation.
That's ego, right?
Right. That's ego, a selfish legacy situation. And I respect it. Lord knows he's earned it. He's given so much to the game for so many years. But this is something else. Once again, it's like COVID. This is such an unusually insane year because of stuff that's happening and has hit finally a breaking point, that doing anything to distract from it could end up in some indirect way tarnishing his legacy. If he leads this coming back and protests start to die down and the real change becomes nothing, trickling nothing, then what was the point of the title? Like, really, honestly, what was the point? That's why, in some strange way, and I agree with Winston. I never thought I'd agree with Kyrie Irving. In some strange way, I kind of respect that Kyrie is saying, I will end my career right now to focus on social reform, to focus on systematic.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part when you guys were talking. That's my apologies for not hearing that part.
Yeah,
my apologies for saying that when not hearing that. So in that situation, I agree with him wholeheartedly. If you feel like that, like, yo, I can be done right now.
Yeah.
I got a chip. I got a ring. I'm good. I can be done.
And I've got my money. I'm done. I'm going to go be this. I'm going to go dedicate myself to this. And Kyrie, for all the complaints people have had about Kyrie, he's not an unintelligent guy. He just has his point of view on the world.
He's a flat earther. He's a flat earther.
No, that doesn't make you necessarily unintelligent. No, I don't think so. I don't think the flat earther thing makes you that unintelligent.
I mean, look,
if you believe men live in the moon, that's a whole nother argument.
I mean, look, between his, first of all,
telling us you're a flat earther right now. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No, I'm not a flat earther.
I'm just saying, look, with the whole flat earther thing, like you have to understand, Jay, as Black people, because we've been so traumatized, we also get very upset when Black people love to go on massive conspiracy theories. Jay is so many Black people lost their mind being like, y'all don't understand. COVID was really a trick. So they get your ass in the thing and inject your ass with the chip. So they know what your ass is thinking before you even think it. And the whole reason why are the cops out here in these streets beating your ass? They're beating your ass so that you have to go to the hospital. They put a chip inside your brain so they know where your nigga ass is all the time. Also, Hillary, and Obama, they out here in these streets being prosecuted. You don't know about that shit because you an Obama nigga.
My brother, no, you are not paying attention. All of this is enveloped, my brother, in 5G. You get what I'm saying?
It's because the 5G is meant to re-scramble your brain and enslave your mind. You were enslaved here. That's why you think the earth is not, that you think it's round. It's not round. What kind of sense does that make? Nigga, if that's the case, then why didn't God dribble us like a basketball and dunk us on the universe like he always meant to?
You forget about the game they put right in front of us, my brother. Pool. Have you not looked at a pool table? You know what I'm saying?
It's a symbolism for Madden, which you buy every year and take your salary to buy. The PlayStation 5 is $854. $854 is literally it's 8 seconds longer than they killed George Floyd. George Floyd, if you take the letters G and F, stand for get fucked, which is what white people have been doing.
That's what they're trying to tell us when they say gluten free. Gluten is a dark color. They want to get rid of the darkness. You know what I'm saying? That's like when they tell you good morning. Good is the Anglo-Saxon word for go on. Absence of light. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is once again.
But again, no, my brother. I have one more theory.
You have to
when we talk about the game of pool again, the white ball controls the green earth until all the balls are knocked off the table. And what is the last ball that remains?
The black ball is the ball.
It is the black ball. It is placed in the middle.
It is also the black ball is an 8 ball, 846. Dave Chappelle, George Floyd
on YouTube, and YouTube is for you to tube into it to be programmed by Bill and Melinda Gates. Do you?
As we've said before, this ain't Sports Center. This is exactly, this is what you get. Oh, Lord. Fantastic. Absolutely clipping this out. All right, so we'll see. We'll see what happens in the NBA. I don't know why Austin Rivers has opened his mouth about anything. He got family money. He don't need to say a damn thing. But other players like Kuzma, absolutely, I understand and feel their pain. And you're right. Some of these other smaller players, absolutely, they're desperate to get that money back because they've been getting not paid or getting paid on a smaller level, prorated, because they're not playing. So let's submit some super chats here. Of course, Scott Johnson, what do you think makes Jay more mad, the Snyder cut or the Bears signing a 52-man roster of tight ends? Ooh, that's a good question. That is a good question.
I don't like the way you stopped and said that. Ooh, that's a good question.
I would argue the Snyder cut for two reasons.
Okay.
First, it's everything that Jay hates about the internet. The second is some of these tight ends could have played line when they were a little bigger in high school. could have played wide receiver when they were a little bit lighter. So they could actually potentially form into these other positions. You could still make a team, but this motherfucker hates the Snyder cut.
We should have gotten into it on the show. Damn it. Kenneth Daisy said, release the tight end cut. There you go. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. What else? I think we got one. I think we had one more before. There's one more before the end here. Do I see it? Oh, yeah, there it is. Sean Barreto. The Bears will never cut a tight end. Also, Winston, if your Cowboys need some tight ends, ask Jay's team. Wow. Thank you for the big donation.
We need a running back right now is what we need, because apparently he's about to lose a lung. So
y'all need a miracle.
Jay Winston out here selling bean pies, says Corey.
My brother. See, beans, what the white man wants you to think that's all the black man eats.
But see, the beans are magical. That's why Jack took his beanstalk and slayed the giant that was Goliath, that became David, that decided that God would dribble the earth as a basketball, as I said
brother,
before.
you are forgetting about the symbolism of the beanstalk. The beanstalk is how black people rise up through the white clouds.
Do they rise up and overcome, or do they overcome and then rise up? That is the question you ask.
And if you notice, there are several beans. There are black beans,
there are brown beans, there are pinto beans.
Wait a second. Don't be bringing brown beans up into this. Now, don't be bringing brown beans. That's a whole separate
Look at Carlos Mencia. We are not getting to you.
I'm not biting or stealing anybody's jokes.
White beans.
You're not going to call Jay, you're not going to call John Carlos Mencia. I'm not going to allow you to do that.
You can't do that.
I will not.
I don't steal jokes from nobody.
I will not allow you to do that. John Rocha is a wonderful, classy gentleman. He would never do something like that.
I would never lie about my Latino hood.
Apologies, my brown brother. But we also need to talk about great northern beans, which are the white beans. Why are they great beans? Do you understand? Black beans have a power over your digestive system. Brown beans stick to your
I have a question, young brother. With so many brothers that are lactose intolerant, why is it that it is Beano that they take to try and calm down the digestive
you trying to take the bean? It means Beano Negro. You got to break that down.
Oh my God. This is the kind of content you get, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. How are we only at 115 likes, man? 174 people y'all watching. Come on. Give that a like, for the love of God. Let's see. Wiley Hendry says the NBA is the perfect platform to push the issue forward. Yeah, I agree. It is the perfect platform to push the issue forward, but it could also distract. So absolutely, Wiley, you make a great point, but it could distract as people get into the playoffs and into the scenes, especially if players get injured. That'll be the conversation more than the Black Lives Matter protest, and I think that could be dangerous. DGMC says just 2 words: Tony Gonzalez. Tony G. Heralded tight end.
Gonzalez is one of the greatest tight ends, and what a tight end is, a white man on both ends. Jimmy Graham is half white. You take Tony Gonzalez, who talks white on CBS, which is the conservative broadcast system.
This is the comment. When is Jay's new NFL show, Mad Tight End podcast, coming? Oh, that was good. The Mad Tight End.
Snaps. That was fire. That was fire. How do you shut up? How do you shut up a hotep? You hit him where it hurts. That's what hit him in the tight end. That's what you do.
Oh, brilliant. All right, let's move on to our next story. And I can't believe we're already an hour into the show. It is flying by, as always, with these gentlemen. So I have such a great time here. Tavishka sent in a StreamLabs. Hey, guys, the StreamLabs are open. Send in those StreamLabs. You see the address up there. Give some love to these gentlemen, and give some love to the Outlaw Nation as well. Not taken away from Jay's sermon, but are we still voting in a new president this year? Is that a thing? Usually we are drowning in ads and phone banks at this time. Well, to be fair, Tavishka, right now is not the time for any of that to be happening in our world. So I think that's why you're not seeing a lot of it. Maybe once we turn the corner into July, August, and these conventions start to happen, that's when you're really going to see all this kind of stuff. So, all right, what's our next story? Let me jump into the next thing. Oh, yeah. J.J. Watt and Baker Mayfield, those two gentlemen jumping in here saying that they are going to kneel or possibly, actually, Baker Mayfield saying for sure, J.J. Watt saying, don't speak for me. This comes on the heels of a tweet that was sent to J.J. Watt saying, pretty sure you won't see at J.J. Watt taking a knee. J.J. Watt responded back to him and said, A, don't speak for me, and B, if you still think it's about disrespecting the flag or our military, you clearly haven't been listening. And this isn't the first time he's spoken out about the George Floyd situation. On May 27th, a Houston TV station released a video of Watt calling George Floyd's death, quote, disgusting, and saying, quote, I don't understand how that situation can't be remedied in a way that doesn't end in his death. And then on Instagram on June 1st, he said, racism is a problem and silence won't solve it. So a big, strong, superstar in the NFL speaking out and shutting down one of his fans who were claiming that J.J. Watt wasn't going to take a knee. They're still trying to believe this thing is a normal protest. It's a normal situation. Mm-hmm. This is a normal police brutality moment. It is not. So many players, both white and black, are stepping forward. Baker Mayfield as well stepping forward, saying he plans to kneel during the national anthem this upcoming season. To support protests of social injustice. He was answering a post from a fan on his Instagram on Saturday that pleaded with him not to kneel, and Mayfield responded, pull your head out. I absolutely am. And Mayfield said further, it's a pivotal time for change. What's being addressed now obviously has been going on for a long time. So now everybody's finally coming together to address it and doing it the right way of holding people accountable. He has worn an I Can't Breathe t-shirt while working out and posted another message outlining his stance on kneeling. So, gentlemen, does this give you massive encouragement that NFL players, white and black, are stepping forward to speak about this, and loudly so and proudly so, and slapping back some of their fans who are trying to put them in a box and simply say because they're white, they're not going to protest?
J.J. Watt has always been a dude in the front of helping out a humanitarian. So this does not shock me any way at all with J.J. Watt. Like, don't put words in my mouth. Look what J.J. Watt did for the city of Houston after Hurricane Harvey. Look at what he did for that. And that wasn't just for white families or middle-class families. It wasn't just for a photo op. He did it for everybody, okay? Baker Mayfield, clearly the progressive checks stopped coming in. So he needed something else to do for the year. But I will say this real quick as a comparison. If J.J. Watt, who's been doing that, if Randall Keith Orton can say Black Lives Matter and understand it and mean it, anybody can change nowadays. Because if you know Randy Orton and follow Randy Orton in the past, you know that was never likely to happen.
Right.
That's a wrestling thing for people who don't understand. Randy Orton from St. Louis is an avid conservative. Die hard.
But there are conservatives who are speaking out about this, who are saying, and that's a good thing.
They're just, I'm saying they've changed their stance. They've understood. They've had to have those talks, those uncomfortable discussions that they didn't want to have. Like, a lot of people don't want to have. Like, there are a lot of white people, let's call it for what it is, who have had to approach black people and be like, I don't understand, or I don't get it, and have had to literally listen.
Right.
And so now you have this transition. But again, J.J. Watt don't surprise me at all.
I would also say this that I think is super interesting. One of the things that you hear a lot of women get honestly angry about is that a dude is going to be tends to be disrespectful towards a woman until he has a daughter. Then all of a sudden he's like, I'm a daughter now. I get it. Like, there is something to be said that is super fucking frustrating about, like, it took a damn pandemic and a black man being murdered for people to be murdered in that fashion for people to get on board. But at the same time, there is something to be said that these players have finally seen, you know what? I get it. I get it, and I'm going to do something about it. I think that there's an argument that's pointed out about kneeling that I think is important, that, like, we need to have an ultimate goal and game plan that we want to move towards. So I do think that, like, I would instead of seeing people kneel forever, I would much rather the kneeling happens if it needs to anymore, and then we actually see real ass reform. But, you know, until we see that, I can also understand doing that. But I think that that's the thing that I got to give, like Jay said, I got to give J.J. Watt a lot of credit. J.J. Watt has been that guy. He has never shied away from it. He maybe didn't address this thing before, but you look at, even take outside of sports, you look at Taylor Swift. People give Taylor Swift a lot of shit. Because she's had a massive platform for years. She wasn't speaking out for women. She wasn't speaking out against atrocities. But think about it. She didn't want to end up like the Dixie Chicks. The Dixie Chicks said one thing about, we think this war is bad, and the entire country fan base said, burn in hell, you crazy whores. Like, that's not what Taylor wanted to have happen. It's the same thing that JJ, I'm assuming a lot of these people. So there is a part of me as a black man that I'm kind of like, fuck, I wish you would have, like, done this earlier. But I'm glad that you've gotten here. Cool.
Right.
You've gotten here. Now let's fucking do this.
Yeah. But that's the big thing, right? The last line you said is, okay, glad you got here. Now let's do this. Don't just get here and think you've done the job. Yeah.
Because a lot of people are just lip service, and not just people. A lot of corporations. I can't tell. We all receive emails from so many different companies that now all of a sudden are like, we're going to tell you our stances we're taking against racism. When there's companies who have been like perpetuators of it. Airbnb, for instance, just sent out an email today, and it was like, we've been talking about y'all renters for the longest. Like, yo, but when you have those, you're here now. Good. Yeah. Now, just don't be here now. Be here later. Right. I think that's the biggest thing on top of it.
You're here. You live here now. This is where you now live.
This is your residence. You're in this. There is no now you jump out of it. No, there is no now you don't want to speak on it. You said you're here. You have to continually speak on it, because this has to continually be brought out of the mouths of people with the larger platforms, with the bigger influence.
Which is why, real quick, that's why I'm so nervous about the NBA and any sport coming back right now. I'm so scared that people, yes, you moved into the house. We haven't even finished escrow yet. Like, shit, we haven't even negotiated on a price yet. We've just decided, you know what? I want the house. Yeah. That's essentially what's happening. I am so scared that the minute you're like, oh, but look at this shiny little toy over here, people are going to be like, oh, well, okay, cool. Thanks for that. And they fucking take the fuck off. That's what I'm scared of.
Yeah. But we're seeing signs, and I don't know, Jeremy Miller brings up an interesting point. If the Confederate flag can be gone from NASCAR, kneeling can happen in the NFL. So certainly that is going to, certainly Greg Popovich, which I did not put in the rundown because we talked about it extensively last week, but Greg Popovich certainly called out Roger Goodell for his shifting stance on kneeling and said it was a hollow apology. So, you know, Pop is the man. You know, if Pop ever ran for anything, Pop would win all the way up until the top. I think he could become president, for God's sakes. Popovich has such a, he's so beloved by both sides of the political spectrum and tells it like he thinks it is, for sure. So you're right. And we'll see. I mean, I'm just happy to see players who are willing to walk out and step forward and, you know, unite with people. And of course, both of these teams' coaches have already said that they're going to, that they'll kneel. Bill O'Brien has said he'll absolutely kneel. He feels like it's called for it. And the Browns coach, what's his name there? Stefanski, he said he's going to, Kevin Stefanski, he will support his players in whatever statement they want to make, kneeling or otherwise. But he has not said he will kneel. He's just saying he's supporting the players to express themselves as they see fit. So that's a good thing. And they know, I think they all know, like, you know, showing disunity at this time, you lose your team. You lose your entire team, honestly, because most of the teams or all the teams are made up of mostly black players and who believe and love this thing. Yeah.
Did you see about the head coach for Oklahoma State?
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Trust me. Because we're jumping into that next.
I didn't see if it was in the run sheet. I'm sorry about that.
Absolutely. No worries. So we're going to jump into that next, and that is college football. So let's make the transition now. And once again, your StreamLabs super chats, keep sending them in. Going to get to all of them after this particular subject. Send them all in, and we'll run through them. But yeah, Ohio State football players returned to campus for voluntary workouts last week, and they are now being required to sign an acknowledgement of risk waiver. It's a 2-page document. The Columbus Dispatch acquired the document through a public records request. It outlines the health risks involved with workouts and other athletic activities and calls for athletes to follow strict health and safety protocols implemented by the school. It's a so-called Buckeye pledge and asks players to pledge to take responsibility for my own health and help stop the spread of COVID-19. And it goes on to say that the university is following their own guidelines by the CDC and other experts. And you're supposed to sign a thing that says, I can never be completely shielded from all risk of illness caused by COVID-19 or other infections. And then if you're under 18, you have to get your parents to sign this thing. This is just mind-blowing to me on so many levels, because these are kids coming in to the to work out for you, for your university that you're not even paying, for God's sake. So don't give me that education crap. Such a wasted argument, that stuff. But you pay, and then you're saying to them, you essentially can't sue us if you get this from being on campus by signing this waiver. I absolutely hate this, and I think this is such a self-preservational situation going on with these universities. What do you guys think about this?
I mean, this rings true of a certain orange fuck muppet that decided to do the same thing before he moved his rally out of Tulsa on June.
Right. Fair point.
It's the same thing. It leaked that you can come to the rally. You have to sign a waiver that you cannot hold Trump or any of his organization responsible if you catch COVID. It's one of those situations where they want to, again, force people's hand as far as like open the economy, come back to business as usual, etc. But they know deep down that this is still very dangerous. So they are absolving themselves of all risk. It's like, to be honest with you, it's one of those situations that like, whereas I don't necessarily disagree with the idea of a prenup if you're coming to a situation where someone who had absolutely nothing comes to somebody who has a lot. I don't have a problem with that. But like that situation where like y'all came up together and all of a sudden the person that most of the money is in their name trying to be like, you gonna sign this shit. It's fucked up. This is some fucked up shit where they know this is like a fucked up scenario. The only way that I would even remotely think that this is okay is if maybe you're talking about going to a college game when the CDC is out here saying do not be out, do not whatever, and they still want to sell those tickets. That'd be one thing. But to do this to the students or to do this to a rally where you're again trying to manipulate a system in order to get what you want, it rings true of how bad this is.
Yep, absolutely. Jay, what are your thoughts on this?
It's total bull.
Okay.
You're literally telling again, like you said, these are kids who are not getting paid yet.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if that NCAA rule has, fully been implemented.
Some of these states have implemented rules, California, and I think Florida just did that as well, where the players could get paid off endorsements, but the NCAA hasn't 100% said it's okay. They don't like it, so they might fight it in court. But yes, sorry, go ahead, Jay.
No worries. And so you want these kids to risk themselves, and with the using the line of we're going to be your conduit to get to the NFL.
Yeah.
What if there is no NFL? You know what I'm saying? Right. What if this again? We're still in this first wave. Everybody's gonna be like the second wave. We've never got past the first. Yeah. And so Ohio being one of those states who followed along in the Orange Fuck Muppets footsteps and were like, go ahead, open up, do what you got to do. It's all a hoax. So now these kids get sick. You just got to be like, well, we're sorry they caught COVID-19, but as you can see here, they signed a waiver that takes away all of that responsibility on us, so they have to deal with it on their own.
Yeah,
this is dumb. This is just as dumb as even when, and yes, it comes to collegiate athletes as well as professional athletes to say, I don't care what sport, to say, well, if you catch the coronavirus in the midst of being involved with us, it's not our responsibility. It's a different story of saying, if you, after doing everything with us, we've made sure you're safe. Now, if you catch the coronavirus outside of these activities, that has nothing to do with us.
Of course.
You should say.
Right, right.
That's what you say. You don't say if you catch it with us, it's not on us. No, because it is your responsibility to implement the precautions necessary to make sure you are safe.
Yeah, and they're giving themselves a legal out by saying, if you don't follow these restrictions, you contract the virus at our facility, you can't sue us. And that's absolute horseshit. It's absolute horseshit. And as if these kids aren't giving enough of themselves. Once again, this is the mentality that is really corrupting this country and snapping it in half. You're seeing it in sports world. You see it everywhere, business, wherever, is this idea that everybody who is like on the lower rung gets absolutely stepped on by the people up top so that they can keep making their money at your expense. And that is ridiculous. These kids are there to represent your school, elevate the name of your school, and help with recruiting more players to keep your school going. And if this is the way you're going to treat them, I find that to be massively offensive. But then again, not really shocked that Ohio State is doing this. So, all right, let's move on to some other stuff with college football, and that's these two coaches. As Winston mentioned earlier, the Oklahoma State coach and Dabo Swinney here from Clemson. We've got to talk about both of these gentlemen here. Dabo Swinney finally spoke out about the George Floyd situation, and he spoke to a Black Lives Matter rally at the university. He said, "This is beautiful. I just appreciate everyone supporting this community today. Clemson," he said, "is a special place." And he said that, and again, we see that again today. This is a historic time and a challenging time. But as I tell my team all the time, challenge is what creates change. Oh, my God. I believe with all my heart that God stopped the world in 2020 so we could have perfect vision and clearly see the social and racial injustice and the changes that need to occur in our society. Now is the time to push for equal justice and no longer tolerate police brutality or racism of any kind in this country. But as you saw today, it has to be everybody's responsibility to be more aware, to learn more, and to speak out against racial equality. Now, this these words come on the heels of other words he had said recently or other actions he had taken recently. For example, former Clemson receiver Kenyon Tuttle said the former staffer used a racial epithet against a player and was not disciplined under Swinney's staff and under Swinney's rule as the coach. Also, the day after the Black Lives Matter protest happens, he wore a Football Matters t-shirt, which was, used by many people to symbolize that he didn't care about this or was trying to focus only on football. He tried to claim that he's not that aware of social issues. But when LeBron James came out, remember when Laura Ingraham told him to shut up and dribble? He wrote an 896-word essay about how LeBron James was manipulating the situation and wasn't 100% doing the right thing with his with the kneeling protest. He wrote about protecting Colin Kaepernick and his kneeling protest. So you can't claim you're not aware of social issues or this stuff going on and then write 2 years ago an 4 years ago an 896-word essay about how Colin Kaepernick was disrespecting the military and the flag by kneeling during the NFL. So is this about a white man, not risking the recruiting situation at Clemson and his job and losing his team and his players and coming out and attending this Black Lives Matter protest? Or is this a real actual change in this guy he's finally seeing the light? What do you guys think?
Fuck Dabo Swinney.
There it is.
Plain and simple. Like, you dudes on hella bullshit. Again, it's what you just said. It's what you just said. We want to make sure I can still recruit kids to Clemson because Clemson has this great
black
lineage
kids to Clemson, yeah.
Black kids to Clemson because Clemson has this national championship pedigree, and we want you to be a part of this program, and we need black kids to play. And now if I tell you, I really don't give a shit about your black life unless you're playing football, stop. Dude is not. I fucking hate when people do this because then people will come behind and go, well, people can change. Yo, 2 days ago, fam, you were not about this. So now all of a sudden when shit hits you really and somebody was like, you realize ain't no black kids going to want to come here now.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, oh, shit, well, I need to make this statement. Fuck out of here.
Yeah. Well, and Winston, let me get your thoughts on this, and also to give you a little more background on it. On Monday, Dabo said, first and foremost, I know that we're all hurting for the Floyd family in our country. I can speak for our entire staff and our team in that regard for sure. We have all witnessed just disgusting acts of evil. That's really the only word I can appropriately use. Then he goes on to say, which he got crap for, what I know as I approach everything from a perspective of faith is that where there are people, there's going to be hate. There's going to be racism and greed and jealousy and crime and so on, because we live in a sinful, fallen world. We've had so much bad news. So basically what he's saying is he thinks this is all a part of a sinful world and that really this is just the way we all live since we don't have enough faith or we don't believe in God, 100%. Every single person in this country doesn't believe in God 100% in his version of God, by the way, that this is why all of this stuff exists. It really, really didn't sit well. And just to give you a little more background on the Kaepernick stuff, he said, I don't think it's good to be a distraction to your team during that in that essay that I spoke about. He said it's easy. He said that he was unwilling to acknowledge a racial divide in the country in 2016, said it's so easy to say we have a race problem, but what we actually have is a sin problem. Some of these people need to move to another country. So this is the college coach we're talking about who said this stuff. It's crazy.
I don't give a shit if my children probably won't play football, to be honest with you, but I don't give a shit if Clemson called me and wanted to offer my child not just a free ride, but pay them millions of dollars to go play for Clemson. I would never do it as long as he's in charge, because here's the thing. I'm not going to say that the worst of us can't be reformed. I did a story on PBPN a couple of years ago about a black man that actually went around to Klansmen and sat down and had long, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but sat down and had long ass conversations and actually reformed some Klansmen to wipe themselves of those ways. So here's the only way I'm going to believe this with Dabo Swinney. I need to see it. Yeah. Your words are hollow, because you've already slung enough words that have done damage. Yeah. So I'm not going to allow you to put my black child amongst your coaching staff and cut him down like that. I'm not going to allow you to try and manipulate this system to play it however you fucking see it. Absolutely not. I don't believe any of this. If I see it in his actions, this is a different conversation, but his words are hollow right now. and they mean nothing. It's part of the reason why even with Drew Brees, it sounds like he's in the middle because this is Drew Brees all over again, but to an extreme.
Yeah.
Drew, it sounds like, has some action plan stuff he wants to put in place. Until I see it, still don't trust him. Period. That's just how that works. You have made it very clear where you have set your shit up at this point. So let me see it. Let me see that you actually mean that shit. And then this is a different conversation. But otherwise, that's the minute he put on, like, all the shit he said, the minute he put on a football matter shit, he took all lives matter. He took blue lives matter. Those are things that are already mad offensive to black people that have been trying to just say, hey, Black lives matter as well, which is the full sentence. That last part is silent because people apparently don't understand subtext here.
Right. No, they don't want to understand.
Whether they do or they don't. You know what I'm saying? The point is they decide to ignore that. By wearing a football matter shirt, you know what that means? This is a joke to you. And if you think that the children that have been paying your $1 million salary are a fucking joke, you can burn in hell. You want to talk about sins? That's a sin. That you are literally using the children that have made your life, and you don't give a fuck about them.
Yeah, and I agree. Listen, I couldn't agree with you more, man. I mean, I just feel that way. I rarely cuss on the show too much. I don't like to cuss too much, but I would say if you wore, I'm saying for me, if you wore a Football Matters shirt, you're essentially saying fuck you to the people who are protesting about this. Fuck you to your kids. Fuck you to your families. Fuck you to the people who died. It was such an offensive, insensitive, stupid act by a man who does know better. If you're going to quote God to me and quote faith and quote the Bible and stomp around like you're some kind of Jesus warrior, what did Jesus say? Love your brother as you love yourself, and also turn the other cheek. You want to follow Jesus? Follow Jesus. Don't be nitpicking what to follow and what not to follow, for God's sakes. That's really important.
Well, and the last thing about it too, that's wild to me, because the easiest way to debunk all of these arguments, and people say all lives matter, you go, okay, cool. So where is that attitude for this, that, and the other? There's a whole number of things you can do that. When it comes to blue lives, you go, there's no such thing as a blue life. You chose that job. You can walk away. Black people can't walk away. To say football matters, let's be real. We love football.
Yes, we
Football is entertaining as fuck. You know what doesn't matter? Fucking football. Honestly, sure, plenty of people have made their money and lived better lives off of it, but has it really mattered when it came down to how did football save the universe from some aliens that I didn't know about?
Right.
Was a football the actual Infinity Gauntlet I didn't know about? The Infinity Gauntlet's a real fucking thing. Did that happen? Did a football set the slaves free and shit? I don't know. No, football never did some shit like it did. It's done a lot of nice things. It's taught a lot of great lessons to some kids growing up and kept them out of trouble. But does it genuinely matter compared to the shit that, because right now, black people are just trying to live.
Yeah.
That matters.
Yep. Agreed. And everybody knows the only sport that saved the world was basketball and NBA Jam. Everybody knows the NBA.
Actually,
Space Jam. Sorry, Space Jam. Everybody knows that was the only sport. But one more idiot college coach. Let's get into this guy from Oklahoma State. This is Mike. I think it's Mike Gundy is the coach. Yeah, Mike Gundy. Now, if you remember Mike Gundy a few years ago, he was the guy that went crazy in that press conference when he said, "You want to attack somebody? Attack me. I'm a 40-year-old man. I'm a 40-year-old man. Come and attack me." Acting a real idiot trying to defend one of his players. Well, one of his players, Chuba Hubbard, who is currently the nation's leading rusher from last season at Oklahoma State, he tweeted on Monday after seeing Mike Gundy wearing an OAN shirt. That's America, what is it, Only America's Network or whatever the hell it's called, which is a far right network. He said, "I will not stand for this." He tweeted it. "This is completely insensitive to everything going on in society, and it is unacceptable." This network takes a pro-Trump stance, and certainly that angered Chuba there for his in his response. Senior Tevin Jenkins also tweeted that the entire offensive line stood with Hubbard, while senior linebacker Ogbongbwe Bemiga also tweeted his support. "I stand with him." Not long after, former Oklahoma State players Justice Hill of the Ravens and A.J. Green of the Cleveland Browns followed too. Was A.J. with the Cleveland Browns? I thought he was still with the Bengals. Well, I didn't know that. Anyway, can't stay silent anymore. Call a spade a spade. People, the Oklahoma State spokesperson said on Monday that the school had no comment. And while talking about the coronavirus during an April news conference, Mike Gundy expressed displeasure with the, quote, mainstream media, saying that he watches One America News, that's OAN, because they, quote, just report the news without commentary. People are getting the virus. They're getting over it. They're back out there in public. They have antibodies that can help fight it. It's truly interesting to me to see what the mainstream media, sadly enough, just how negative everybody can be. Let's just report the news. Let's start putting things in there that are positive, because I know there's positive news out there. Then later, he issued a statement saying, I've been made aware that comments from my press conference have offended some. It was never my intention to offend anyone, and I apologize. My first priority is and will always be the student athletes and doing what is best for the program and the university. So he does that, but then he wears this shirt. So, gentlemen, I put it to you, this is a bunch of hogwash from this gentleman. He is clearly an uber conservative, and he's just trying to save his damn job, don't you think?
All right, check this out. OAN is so far right, it makes Fox News look liberal.
Yeah, true. That's not a lie.
How far fucking right it is.
That's not a lie. Yeah.
To sit there and support that in any stretch, in any facet, lets us know you don't give a fuck about nothing but the liliest of white skin.
Yeah. You
can sit there and post all the Candace Owens videos, Hodge Twins videos, and every other crispity crackety coon, aka Flavor Flav video you can find. That's what they stand for.
Yeah.
Now you all of a sudden, Oklahoma State don't want to say shit because it's like, again, fuck, the best rusher we have in NCAA is on our team. One of the best programs we have is right here. And guess what makes up the best of our program? About 80 to 90% black players.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got to be like, oh, I hate this whole, how do we tread lightly with this shit? There is no tread lightly with it.
Yeah.
There is no tread lightly. He needs to be gone. Because again, like you said, this ain't the first.
This ain't the first time.
This ain't the first, and it ain't gonna be the last. And again, when that offensive line was like, we out. Mm-hmm. When the offensive line stuck with him, that's when he knows he's like, oh, damn, what am I have to do? Get second or third string? Because what's going to happen, and it's so fucked up because it comes all down to money. Like I think we brought up earlier, all comes down to money because then you're going to have those alumni and backers who are like, well, if you put in this second, third string who's not good at all, and we have people not coming to the games and lose money, now you got to get rid of them because they don't want to get rid of them because of what he said, because it's fucked up ass backwards views with those type of players who he affect on his team, but because they affect their bottom line. And that's that upsets me the most behind this.
Yeah. Winston, thoughts?
I mean, I don't know. No, I didn't even know the "I'm a man, I'm 40" reference. Is that the one where he was talking about stop coming at these kids?
Yes.
Or some
yes.
Shit? Okay.
And he went from around the podium.
I vaguely remember that.
Oh man.
Oh man, I'm 40. Come for me.
Come talk to me.
The shit's exhausting, but let's be honest. Are we really surprised? I mean, there's that too. I'm not going to come for Saban or anything like that, though. I wouldn't be surprised if we heard some stuff. These guys are getting paid millions of dollars while these black kids are getting paid nothing.
Yeah.
A lot has been for them to not even speak out about that, to be honest with you, says something in and of itself. Nick Saban, Gundy, all these people are large enough and make enough money that if they genuinely said something, they could get these kids the money that they deserve.
Yeah,
they could get them taken care of in a better way, but they're happy with their way of life. They're happy with where they are. They're in a place where they feel untouchable, so they don't care. And so when the saying goes, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you're living that life and nothing fucking bothers you, you don't give a shit that one of your coaches calls one of your players the N-word because you're just like, oh well. Maybe you don't call him that, but you go, well, were you not hustling? Like you justify it. You know what I'm saying? This is just one of those things with this guy, and we shouldn't be surprised with a lot of these coaches. They're more about they're supposedly about turning boys to man. Yeah, they don't know shit about black people. Like that's why the Steve Kerrs of the world, the Greg Popoviches, I have all of the respect in the world for them.
Yeah,
they make it very fucking well known. They don't just coach these players. They consider them equals and brothers, and they love them, and they are fighting for them because they believe that. These guys don't see that. This is a commodity to them, period. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what seems to be the feeling you're getting from these. And you're right. And Winston, another reason why they don't want to, push for pay for these players, that'll affect what they get paid. So it's a selfish desire, because if you start paying players, you ain't got enough money to pay the coach. And so they're going to have to reduce their requests for the amount of money they can make a year. It'll impact them financially.
You're a collegiate coach.
Yeah, right.
A collegiate coach.
Yeah.
I can understand getting maybe $1 million because of how much the program brings in. But these coaches are getting dumbass NFL level coach money.
Yeah.
For collegiate level coaches.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
No one has a problem with that. Like, everybody's like, well, yeah, Nick Saban earned this money. Urban Meyer earned all this money. He's a collegiate coach.
Right.
He is not a pro football coach.
If you got $6 million for Saban, poof. Yeah.
When you tell me a coach for the Arizona Cardinals or a coach for the worst team in the NFL got that money, we're like, yeah, but it's still an NFL team at the end of the day.
Right.
Because we agree with that. It's a collegiate team.
Yeah.
I understand, it makes money, but don't tell me they're worth that much, especially like Winston just said, you're not paying the players a dime.
Yeah. And that's why so many of them can't jump into the big leagues. They get in the big leagues and they run. Like Saban ran from Miami. Saban left in the dark of the night. He left. They were like, wait, what? He's not going to be coach anymore? Like, that's
you can't control grown men.
Yeah. You can with your tactics. Grown men don't put up with that crap.
Grown men.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't.
I think this is a great. People ask, well, what's the answer? I think the answer is you fire these coaches when they speak out like this, or when they make stupid mistakes like this. You talk to those kids and you hear what the kids have to say. And yeah, this might be a shock to some of y'all. Maybe you start looking at black coaches, hiring more black coaches, interviewing more black coaches. Stop making
that's so radical, John. Don't do that.
Stop making a shenanigans of the actual minority hiring process that goes on both in the NFL and in college football. Actually talk to these men who are former players or coordinators, elevate them to head coach, see what happens, and give them 5 years. Don't just give them 3 years or 1 year or 2 years and then fire them afterwards. They've got to give more black coaches opportunity. I think that's also a thing that has to come out of this. And yeah, some people have suggested, I saw this in the chat as well, I've read, like, why don't people send their kids to historically black colleges and universities to see if they could elevate them in that? And I wonder, that's a possibility, but can those colleges afford the greatest coaches or the great coaches to come in and coach them up to be able to compete for the time? And the other part of this, one real quick, Jay, the other part of this, will any of the big programs actually schedule those colleges out of fear for losing to those colleges? You meant Winston, but it's okay. Sorry. I was looking at the camera. When I look at the camera, I can't see you guys when I look like this.
And Winston was like, yeah.
Sorry, when I look straight, okay. I can't see you guys. So
it's okay. Ahead. I mean, that was a big story. I don't remember the kid's name, but like, he's like the 5-star recruit that's already said, he's a sophomore right now, I believe, that said, like, yeah, I'm going to an HBCU.
Wow.
Like, he's like, I believe that this is a huge deal. For basketball, he said, I believe it's a huge deal, and the only way that these schools will actually get the clout that they need and deserve is we have to take a stand and decide to do that. Because just like protesting and everything else, you have to take a stand. The whole idea is what? If you stand for nothing, you're bound to fall for anything. If you don't stand up to the coaches like Gundy, like Sweeney, they're gonna go and do whatever the fuck they want. And then when they do, are you really allowed to complain when it happens? Like, it's time for us to say enough of this. You know what I'm saying? And so I think we have to take a stand against this right now.
Well, that's a great point you bring up. And the recruit you're mentioning, it's Mikey Williams. He's a 15-year-old already. As a freshman, he's averaging 30 points a game at San Ysidro High School, which includes a 77-point game earlier this year. He tweeted,
Jesus.
Yeah. As a freshman, he said, going to an HBCU wouldn't be too bad, ... with the eyes, that eye emoji staring at the HBCU. And then a big comment about, or a big status about it written there. We control our own narrative, he said. We are the reason that these schools have such big names and such good history. I am writing for my people. I am 10 toes behind the black community. So this is a 15-year-old kid, man. What an incredible statement. Knowledgeable, intelligent young man.
I'll tell you why he's that like intelligent and pro-black, because he hasn't been coached by Gundy and Dabo Sweeney.
Good point. Very good point. Very good point.
Church.
All right, let's get in some donations here. Some Streamlabs. Sorry, let's see. Where do we leave off at? Oh yeah, for real. When do we have to get into another relationship with a president? Can we just date one for a while? Cat Williams. Is that from Cat Williams?
Cat Williams show. That's a good joke.
Right. Yeah, that's Corey Scott Johnson. Shout out to him for saying that.
Ourselves and date ourselves for a while. Do we need another president?
From Chechia, just donated $10 to support the show. Thank you so much from Chechia. Darren Wright said, Patreon Fantasy Football League this season, Rocha. Maybe. That could be fun, I guess, football. If we even have a season. But yeah, sure.
Draft players that ain't even playing. What is wrong with you niggas? You got to wait until
but then that's the whole thing, though. You get points each week that like your player doesn't get COVID, and if they show up at like a protest march, they get extra points and shit like that. You fumble some points, you get like -2 or 3 points if you say something like, I don't understand why they be kneeling and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can come up with the league for this.
Kneels, you get a +1 nigga, okay? You get plus.
I think that's a human fantasy league, but yeah, I'm down. I like it. Alex O'Neill chimed in. He donated some money. He said, Aussie rules football resumed over here on the weekend. If you guys haven't checked out a game, give it a go. It's some wild shit. NFL without the padding, all games had players and umpires kneeling before the games as well. That's incredible.
Australia and New Zealand, two of the three, New Zealand always was going to be about it.
Yeah.
New Zealand has always been open, but Australia and like Germany and some of these other countries that you were like, wait, what? Yeah. They have been in solid, which it's really befuddling to me that people in America can't fucking look. The world.
Yeah.
The world. But you have people in one country who are like, I don't understand why you're protesting. All your lives matter, except for trans people, darkies, brownies, and maybe even a couple people I don't like that might have special needs. That's how you don't get that the world is the world.
I respect that.
Telling y'all, I'm just trying to get the John Boyega money so that I could be like, man, fuck it. Y'all can take, because Kyrie is essentially the NBA John Boyega, right? And he's just like, fuck it, I'll give it all up. I don't give a fuck.
Also, the earth is flat.
But also, John Boyega, the people who mad at John Boyega, you're mad at the dude who played a character in a movie about a political resistance on the side of the liberals, talking about a liberation resistance in real life on the side of people who look like him. All right, next question.
Right. You turning on a black man who turned on white stormtroopers. Just let you know, just put that out for you. Just put that out for you to consume. And also, he's got Star Wars money. He's going to be fine. DGMC's
a couple times.
He said, no tight ends for you, Dabo. Oh, that's a shame. DGMC laying the hammer down. No tight ends for Dabo in Jay's world. If God was an athlete, also DGMC, he'd be a tight end. Dash Jay Washington. Oh, quote from Jay Washington. If God were an athlete,
did you say that, Jay? Because it sounds like something you would say.
Have you been misquoted? Oh, he's just quiet. All right, we'll move on. Philosopher King says Dabo views young black men as tools to produce value / money for his school, not as real human beings. Yeah. I can't disagree with you there. It certainly feels like these college coaches just do not see these young men. They see themselves as doing them a favor, and that's the corruptive part of that relationship. And yes, you are educating these young men. You are essentially replacing their fathers for the season to a degree, but with that comes responsibility. With that comes a serious a serious self-reflection you have to make with yourself to make sure you are actually administering the right lessons to these kids as they move on to the next level and move on with their lives. For sure, it isn't just about making them money.
I mean, real talk, Rocha, it's the same shit that like you notice that men have a tendency to grow up. If you're still thinking about when you go out on a date, like that a woman is just a piece of ass, you just buying this dinner so you can get some pussy. Like that's a problem versus I'm on a date with a real human being I like to know. If sex comes away with it, awesome. But like you go on a date because you want to connect with somebody, not because you're just trying to smash. You know what I'm saying? Dabo was essentially,
Castle.
huh?
I mean, if you're going just trying to smash, you'd be like, meet me at White Castle.
That's what I'm saying. If all they wanted was to do that, then like, fine, let's go play pickup ball outside and shit, and we'll bet some money on it. But like, you're supposed to be a leader of men. You're supposed to help these boys become men.
Yep.
So to not see them as human beings is a huge fucking problem.
Agreed.
I'll play you one-on-one for what? Your draws. All right.
Loving Basketball, the sequel. Dabo and Gundy said Dabo and Gundy equals loose ends. Oh, DGMC. All right. Staying on point with that. Let's see if we got any more. Nope, no more super chats right there. I'll make sure I've got everybody. Yes. All right. Then John Doe. Oh, wow. John Doe just donated a very generous donation. Thank you, John Doe. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you sending some stuff in. Thank you so much. Hercules.
Hopefully Rocha will text me. Well, he can't text us because T-Mobile is there.
Oh, you guys are going to be fine. Don't you sweat it. You'll get something later on. Don't you sweat it. Don't you sweat it.
Oh, my God.
Remember, everyone, do you want to ask the Outlaw Jay or was this question? Yeah, there's the StreamLabs address. Some of you have been asking where it is. There it is. All right. We got about 15 minutes left in the show. I can't believe it's just going by so fast. Let me do one thing. I like to do one little thing to give a shout out to people that I absolutely and thoroughly respect. This came down from Deadline. Let me see if I can get the picture loaded up in time. They are making a movie about number 17, Doug Williams, ladies and gentlemen, the first black quarterback ever in the Super Bowl and to win a Super Bowl. Doug Williams is according to Deadline's Andreas Weissman. This film, they're doing a biopic on him, will reportedly track Williams' journey to the NFL, where he became the first black quarterback to be selected in the first round of the draft, and that was by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was also the first black quarterback in the NFL who was a starter rather, and then made history when he won the Super Bowl with my Redskins. Will Packer Productions will produce the film. Said Williams, Doug Williams, there are no better individuals than Will Packer and James Lopez to really tell my story. Their unparalleled success in movie making ensures that my journey will be told with the utmost authenticity. I am very excited to be working with Will Packer Productions. Look, Doug Williams, who is 64 now, which is hard to believe because he don't look a day over 42, threw for yeah, black does not crack on that, man. It is smooth.
Unless you do crack.
You do crack.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm glad we're off screen for that one. All right. Williams threw for nearly 17,000 yards in his 9-year NFL career, as well as winning Super Bowl 22. He was named to the Washington's Ring of Fame and Tampa Bay's Ring of Honor. He's also a College Football Hall of Fame inductee. I know you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, Winston, but still, you got to give it up to Doug Williams on this. And it's great to see this becoming a film.
I mean, I agree. I think that's we want to raise up as many of our black people, black heroes that have done amazing things, even if they play for the worst team in the league.
How dare
you? I still respect it in the same way that I hate the 49ers. I respect the fuck out of Colin Kaepernick. It's kind of a similar situation where I don't want to, but I respect it. I respect the shit out of him. Good for him for doing that and paving the way. I do have a question, a baby bit on, but also off topic, John.
Okay.
After everything that's happening, do you think that the name is going to get changed now that everything's up in the air?
I certainly hope so. As I said, my girlfriend's aunt used to run the Raiders. She is very well aware of Native American issues. She tweets about the situation with the Skins all the time, and I personally would love to see the name change once and for all. I've been saying this for years. Enough is enough already. Just change it. Washington Warriors, Washington whatever. I don't care. Just have a good name. You could even say the Skins. No, actually that doesn't work. Well, Washington Warriors, Washington something. But change it. It's got to be changed. The time.
Let me get in the Washington Skins, dog.
You got to come up with something. I like the Washington Warriors. You can still keep I don't know what you want to do with that the symbol, but you can still have the symbol there that's strong. And so to me, that's at the end of the day is what they need to be. The Skins were from a certain time, just like everything else in life. If we're taking Confederate flags, if NASCAR's saying we ain't flying Confederate flags no more, that tells you it is time for change. And the Redskins are far behind, and Snyder is going to look like an absolute Napoleon Bonaparte moron if he doesn't make this change as soon as possible. And I'm surprised, and I guarantee you, this is going to start switching. This is going to start covering more and more things, and more people are going to get
called. Come out. It's slowly started.
Yeah, and they don't be surprised when they start turning their gaze towards the Skins and Dan Snyder to change his name, because he funded some study where he allegedly paid off some Native American tribes.
JC did too. JC's the super chat. Wait till you get to the super chat.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That is terrible. That is not good. I don't like that, DJ. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. Snyder needs to sell the team. He's a shithole owner, and we haven't done anything under his stewardship. He's a terrible, terrible owner. So.
About the Doug Williams movie, I'm just waiting on.
Wait, you're a Pats? Wait, DGMC's a Pats fan? You're gonna come at me? You're gonna come at me? My God!
Let me just back down.
There's a lot of cheating going on in New England. Anyway, let's move on. What's
real quick?
Yes.
I'm just waiting on the social media post to go, where is the movie about a wide quarterback? Like, yo, because it's somebody
quarterbacks matter.
It's coming. And also, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, first of all, am I not mistaken that there's already like a Tom Brady documentary that's out anyway?
Oh yeah, TB12. They already did one on ESPN.
Yeah, like don't worry. I'm sure there will be a Tom Brady movie at some point. Like, chill the fuck out.
Mark Wahlberg will play Tom Brady because, of course, it's in Boston.
Yeah,
it's in Boston.
All right, one last story, and that's the MLB. Let's get into it real quick before we wrap up. The Major League Baseball Players Association asked.
A story beside that too.
Oh, okay. We get into that one too. If you guys can stay a few more extra minutes, we'll hit that one. But I think this is going to take a little bit of time. The Major League Baseball Players Association asked Major League Baseball to set a schedule for the 2020 season rather than countering the latest return to play proposal by the league, which sets up the MLB rather to implement a significantly shortened schedule. This is coming from ESPN, and deepening the labor strife between these parties. The MLBPA executive director Tony Clark rejected MLB's latest proposal and said, quote, further dialogue with the league would be futile. It's time to get back to work. Tell us when and where. The March agreement between the parties allows MLB to set a schedule, and the league has suggested in the absence of a negotiated agreement with the union, it could impose a schedule of somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 games and pay players prorated salaries worth a total of $1.25 billion overall. The MLBPA lead negotiator Bruce Meyer, in a letter sent to Dan Hellam, who's the deputy commissioner of the MLB, said, quote, we demand that you inform us of your plans by close of business on Monday, June 15th. That's today, ladies and gentlemen. That is today. And the MLB responded saying, we are disappointed that the MLBPA has chosen to negotiate in good faith. Chosen not to negotiate in good faith over resumption of play after MLB has made 3 successive proposals that would provide players, clubs, and our fans with an amicable resolution to a very difficult situation caused by COVID. Basically, the divide here is the MLBPA, the players, want to make sure their salaries, they will retain a certain level of their salaries. The MLB is saying, we are going to go broke if we don't play games. So you have to come back and play a short season, and we'll only pay you for those games. And the MLBPA say, no. You got to pay us a majority of our salary. No matter how many games we play, you got to pay us a majority of our salary. And they're claiming that the owners are lying about the fact that they'll go broke if they pay the players because of they're claiming, well, there's no, we're not going to have people in attendance buying refreshments, blah, making money. But the MLB players are countering by saying, wait, you just negotiated your TV deal from $350 billion to $500 billion. So tell me again why you don't have any money. So this is an interesting situation. What do you guys think about this?
The players union is always look. Major League Baseball's players union is the best shit ever. No matter what, they're gonna make sure players get paid. Plain and simple.
Yeah, true. They rarely get caught out by the owners in a negotiation. That's actually very true.
Did you guys see Andrew McCutcheon's video?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Did he talk about it too?
It's amazing. So he decided to do a TikTok where he essentially was like talking to his child and being like, hey, I know you're thirsty. If you want to, if you go potty, I'll give you some juice. They go, yay, juice. And so they go on potty. Goes, all right, awesome. So since you went potty, here's your water. It's like, no, you said juice. It's like, no. Well, if you don't want water this way, how about water in a coffee mug? No, you said juice. What about water in a bottle? You said juice. Well, you're clearly thirsty, so either take this water or you can have nothing. And I was like, damn, like,
ouch.
Like, it was really, really, really funny. And I don't necessarily blame them for this, man, for being like, yo, like, you don't have a league without us. Yeah. So give us our goddamn money.
It's crazy. It's crazy how much they're battling over this.
Money. Look, Major League Baseball is going. I talked about the ad revenue earlier when it comes to the NFL and when it comes to the NBA. Major League Baseball, which is still America's pastime, America's sport, is going to get their ad revenue money. So the players are right. We're like, fuck you, pay me.
Exactly. That's where they're at right now. So we'll see. I mean, this is just back and forth. We'll find out. We'll find out certainly while we're recording the show. I'm sure there'll be updates after the show is over, whether they were able to negotiate a deal or get the idea of a start date or anything like that. So we shall see. I do want to read a couple of Streamlabs that roll through here, so we'll make sure we get everybody's. Let's see here. We got a Tavishka one. Finally off work and could use another Calvin moment to have a good laugh. Well, not yet. Maybe tomorrow night when I host Kevin Smets on the show. I'll follow that legend during the fan video chats any day talking about Calvin. What sports can you not live without for the rest of the year? What sport is the safest to start up again? What do you guys think?
Golf, which I think is already
golf is cool.
Golf is already playing, I think. So
golf, it doesn't require anybody but a caddy and the player,
right? Someone to just keep the So and you can have a camera crew there, but at a distance. Like they don't even need to. They just do. They got hella good like cinematography.
You couldn't even say Zoom. Hella good. Those are watching with children. He is talking about a camera because this shit was really wrong.
No, that's if I did this here. I did it here. This is Zoom because it's like by your eye. It's by you're like zoom in on that shit.
Anyway, tennis and golf.
Yeah, that works. Yeah,
maybe not. Maybe tennis. I guess you're not going to transmit it via the ball. But I was like, since you're still having direct interaction with each other, but yeah,
you don't have to though. You don't have to. You could set the chairs on two opposite sides of the court, so you don't.
No. I know because you're hitting the ball back and forth, but they've already said that surface transmission isn't necessarily going to be a thing. Right. I'm just worried about what the like at the top of the lungs that they fucking do that you might be just spreading COVID out, just like shooting out into the air and shit.
Out. Yeah, that'd be. I think NASCAR works, doesn't it? You're inside of a car by yourself.
Not till you get to the pit crews.
No, the pit crew. That's a fair point. Yeah,
pit crews and 19 motherfuckers doing one wheel change.
Yeah, that's true. Pit crews.
Rap battles.
Can you drop him out the studio right now for that shit? Drop him out.
Hey man, that's called a comeback. You remember how John opened the show? Like a callback, he opened the show with the
remember? I was bringing the ladies to the club. Yeah, you remember? Anyway, all right. The Tavishka. Tongue Punch Fart Box C donated something. He said, random question, but I've always wondered, what was the protocol in wrestling for having someone like Carlito spit an apple in your face or Rikishi basically making you eat his ass? Seems pretty degrading to me. Jay, care to comment?
So there is no protocol.
You look fine today.
There is no protocol. You have to ask anybody, John Cena, anybody who's going to take the spitting apple. Look, Vince McMahon basically says this is what's going to happen. When it comes to the WWE, people have to understand. Vince is like, this is what we're doing. Yeah. You can either do it or leave. Now, if you're starting to elevate in your career like John Cena was, because he was in the work, he was a doctor of thugonomics at the time. Yeah. You sat there like, I'm gonna let Carlito spit an apple at me. When it comes to Rikishi's ass, you just have Keisha's a great. I love Kishi like a big brother. I love Big Oos. Yeah, you have to just be like, Keish washes his ass. It's clean. You just realize he got a.
I'm just laughing my ass off because I'm just assuming then with the whole stank face shit. That like it happens, you're like, oh god, here comes Rikishi's ass. You're like, oh, this actually smells spring fresh in here. This is
you like, those ass cheeks were so comfy. My jaws, like, oh, like It's really it's weird because that's like asking for better. What's this protocol for slaps?
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to slap here. You're technically supposed to slap here because if you go for the face and miss and hit somebody's ear, you can blow out their eardrum. So, like, and the thing is, no matter what you do that has those kind of interactions, something can go wrong because it's Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
Whatever can happen will happen. You know what I'm saying?
Next time she slaps.
Okay.
Don't mess my eardrum up, baby. All right. John the Puck said,
And Corey Scott Johnson just said it the best ever. Since you put up the Streamlabs, I'll go to Corey Scott Johnson's comment. He says, niggas was eating ass before Janae Aiko sung about it, so the stink face should have been no problem for any black dude. All right, let's go.
Well, hold on a second, because you were
don't act like you weren't eating ass like groceries before Janae Aiko.
I genuinely wasn't.
The vagina and the ass are right here.
No, I know. I'm aware.
We've gone too far.
We've gone too far. But also there's a difference between doing that with the girl that you are having sex with and a grown ass man that you are wrestling. All right.
You're gonna eat his ass when it's in the corner. You're not like, hey, Rikishi, you're not gonna do.
No, true.
I learned a lot about you today, Jay Washington. A lot.
Jonathan Beck said, according to an interview with Doug Williams, he said that the person that I want to play him in a biopic is Jamie Foxx. Go look it up. It's true. Wow.
He might be too old now.
Yeah, and also I think
but
I also think Jamie's not big enough. I mean, Doug was 6'1", 6'2", something. I don't know if Jamie's
like 5'7".
Michael B. Jordan, especially because he's already been in a football show, so you know that he can do the football actions.
Maybe. I like Brian Banks. I'm sorry, Aldous Hodge from Brian Banks.
Hodge.
I like Aldous.
Would be great to do.
The problem with Aldous he's got to add some muscle.
I mean, but that's not. But you're like that's a difficult thing, though. That's not a difficult thing.
I know.
You can make that.
I'm just thinking of
There we go. Jay giving anatomy lessons. Winston giving life lessons. Rocha giving rap lessons. Hell yeah.
Open this last topic. Oh my God.
Bring the ladies to the club. Anyway, yeah, I don't know where else it's going. I think that's all.
I really hope somebody from SEN was watching this show, clip that out, and it's put in the button right next to I want Damon's ass so bad. I hope that's right next to I bring the ladies to the club.
To the club. All right, let's move on to our last story as we wrap up here. And thank you everyone who's staying with us a few more minutes past our normal time. I want to make sure I bring this up correctly. There it is. So this Olympic boxer tested positive right here. That's her, Virginia Fuchs. She tested positive for 2 forms of performance-enhancing drugs. However, she will not be facing punishment for failing a doping test after the USADA, that's the United States Anti-Doping Association, determined the violation had been caused, this is a real story, by 2 substances transmitted by her boyfriend during sex. Yes, this is absolutely a true story. She was 32 years old. She was cleared to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics next year as a flyweight. She was recently a captain of the U.S. Olympic team. While investigating the tests, the USADA learned that Fuchs's partner, I don't say, had been taking products that included the 2 banned substances, and the levels of Fuchs violations were consistent with recent exposure to sexual transmission.
Okay, the first thing that was said that was genuinely funny. I mean, this is shocking, but I had seen this obviously before. Was when you were like, and the 0 fucks, I mean Fuchs.
Travis Tygart of who's the USADA CEO, said his organization confirmed Fuchs's violations only because it was required to do so. They required this no-fault finding be considered a violation and be publicly announced. We strongly believe this case and others like it, including meat contamination and prescription medication contaminations, should be considered no violation. She said, I had no idea that I could become contaminated by way of intimate contact with another person. I want to thank USA Boxing for believing in me and supporting me throughout these past few difficult months. She said she was in shock when she tested positive because she had never ingested anything that was remotely close to the two performance-enhancing drugs that were letrozole and GW1516, which are prohibited hormone and metabolic modulators. So they gave me a no fault and they cleared me and crazy stuff. But you got to ask yourself, A, who's her boyfriend? And B, why is he taking performance enhancing drugs? So now the questions come to him if she's cleared, for God's sakes.
So here's the deal. Okay.
Corey Scott Johnson, stop it. Corey Scott Johnson, stop it, man. Yeah,
first time you hear it, only thing that comes in my head is Lil Jon going, "Oh, ski." Because, like, first of all, like, to hear that, first of all, we know that she going raw with a guy. That's the number one thing we know.
Right.
We know they going raw. We know she getting it in. And the fact that she got to have a
they said ingested, so there is a thought process.
Or she was
happened another.
She swallowed it. That's what I was like. When I thought about that, I was like, she swallowed it. And my next thought was pineapples.
Oh my God.
Because like, now you like, can you imagine how strong that shot to the face was though? Because it was loaded with steroids.
I love how you think it was in the face. It was totally in the mouth if she ingested it and tested positive for it.
Can you imagine that shot in the back of the throat like, oh, like she couldn't even do that.
Right. That's some strong.
Or it wasn't, because if he's doing steroids, his balls are tiny. That's also like a thing. So it may not have been that strong. But look, I mean, if y'all didn't know, I mean, they say that apparently if a woman continues, I know, a woman apparently continuously has sex with the same person, that eventually the male DNA does, because it's getting absorbed inside their body, does slightly shift.
Yeah,
this is actually like a direct proof of that happening. But like, also to go back to the photo, John, I need you to show. To show you something.
Sure. Let me bring it up real quick. I didn't put the black background around it like I usually do, but there it is. Yeah.
Look at that arm, bruh.
Yeah.
That looks like she done,
she done ingested a lot more than a little bit. Like,
you're saying you don't believe her.
No, it's not that. I'm just thinking that she may have been taking. Never mind.
She caught them Hancock director's cut shots to the throat.
Like, no. I'm not. I can't be part of this.
So kids, be careful. Make sure you test your partners if you're an Olympic athlete before you have sex with them, so you make sure they're not on PEDs.
Every dude that now lifts weights and works out and may take supplements, because again, there are some over-the-counter supplements that do come up on the banned list that you can buy right now from GNC and everywhere. Yeah. Like, now, if you having sex with a female athlete, she damn near has to ask you what you're taking in advance, especially if y'all finna get down with the get down. So instead of just pulling out your COVID test results and your HIV test results, you gotta pull out your grocery list of the shit you've been taking before y'all get down. Like, that is literally what this is now. Because now it is, I mean, it can, like Winston said, it can definitely happen, because again, women who are with men for long periods of time, who have unprotected sex, who are in comfortable relationships, their body absorbs the DNA. So again, now when a female athlete who can be tested by USADA at any moment, at the moment USADA feels like, we need to do a random test on you. Now they're like, ma'am, can you explain why we found all of this in your system? And she's like, I just been on a green juice diet from Press Juicery. It's like, well, clearly green juice got juiced up. And she was like, the only person I know is Steve. And the only way Steve could get,
I just want to see how many Olympic athletes start to use this excuse down the road. I was having sex, see, and I got infected. I haven't sex, see, and that's how
we was drunk one night. We was drunk one night, and he was like, "What can you do with that strong iron jaw that happens in boxing?" And I was like, "I'm gonna show you."
Oh boy, Jay. Terrible.
As a stand-up comic, I hereby reserve the rights for all filthy jokes.
Derek Blaney says, Hollywood is casting Chadwick Boseman as Doug Williams. He plays every famous black character. If everybody famous,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I jokingly call him Mr. History because what? James Brown, Jackie Robinson,
yes,
Black Panther,
yes,
yeah. When he Thurgood Marshall?
He was Thurgood Marshall. Yeah. Yes, he was.
Mr. History.
He is our magical black Negro. Like he is.
Is he the mystique of black male actors?
Yes, he is. He like Denzel has transitioned on into his grandpa phase, and now the essence of the Negro that uplifts Hollywood is embedded into Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, he was Marshall.
Marshall. We was gonna give it to Jamie Foxx, and that nigga became Electro. Like we had to stop.
Oh, that was the end of the conversation when he did that. Yes. Have you guys seen Defy Bloods yet? Did you guys watch it yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm watching it later today.
Let me tell you, without spoiling it.
Yeah.
Spike Lee and Kevin Wilmot have wrote another masterpiece movie. The way it depicts first of all, it depicts one of the best things ever that we need to have examined in the black community, and that is PTSD with a lot of our vets. It examines it in such a way that it grips you. And honestly, as God is my witness, Delroy Lindo needs to be in every best actor or supporting actor, whatever you want to put, Oscar talk right now. Yeah. After you watch that movie, John, text me and let me know what you think.
All right. I've always loved Delroy, and I hated that he got lost.
And Chadwick Boseman is in the Five Bloods.
Yeah, and that's why I bring it up. Yeah.
And he's amazing in it.
Right. Jonathan Majors is in it as well, who I loved from Last Black Man in San Francisco. Yeah. He's a fantastic actor. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And we just got over Twitter. This came through. Rob Manfred in an interview with ESPN says now he is not confident that there will be a 2020 baseball season as long as there's no dialogue with the MLBPA that the real risk of this season being canceled is going to continue. So that's he thinks it's just a disaster for our game. Absolutely no question about it. It should be happening. It's important that we find a way to get past it and get the game back on the field for the benefit of our fans. So we'll see. We'll see.
Real quick, I don't know if you've seen this, but the someone just released a tweet of the breakdown of all the money that the like Schmodown at like SEN Outlaw Nation crew has attained.
Yeah.
Bandit Brigade almost 12,000. Yep. Roxy almost 2. Call to Action 21, SEN $4,000, us Blurs in the Hood 3,500, Wangers 1,000, Meaning of 1,200, Internet Today $56,745, Gucci Burst almost 1,800, Rocha 5.
No, I'm at 12. I'm at 12. Why aren't
you're at 12 now? So then that may have even video Drew almost 2,300, Emma 511, First Cut 1,010. One Up Club 1,070. That Hannah guy 4K. Real Rejects 3,500. The total before your update, Rocha, $97,640.
Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
That is insane. Wow. I am so fucking impressed.
Yep. And shout out to everybody who did such great work on that. And I'm not, putting myself in that mix because I didn't, those guys know how to use Twitch to make that money. And so shout out to Goddard, shout out to Brandon and doing the things that they've done to try to get some money. And so, we did our part as much as we could. And I'm just happy to be part of a community that is so in support of this situation, support of Black Lives Matter, and sending them money and putting their money where their mouth is. I think that's really the most important thing. And seeing so many great people part of the community who are raising funds for this situation and for these charities and foundations to help in the struggle.
I think as Black men, we definitely can say that thank you even harder to know that a community that did not have to do it.
Yeah,
let's just call it for what it is. You did not. None of them had to do it. None of them could. All of them could have technically, and I'm not saying no one did, could have raised the money for themselves and said they were going to donate it to something. But every single person that decided they were going to do this and put this effort forward decided to do something and literally make their actions speak volumes. And for myself, for Blurs, Winston, we thank you. I mean, we can go down a list of Black people in Schmodown, but it's like only one more or two more. Or 3. Well, it's just RB3, Janine, Dwayne, and
Chance, right? Isn't Chance?
Chance.
Chance.
Devon Stewart.
Yeah.
Well, Devon be out here in the back just like I'm
Dewan was in it. Dwayne Burke.
I said
behind the
Dwayne,
scenes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so but seriously, on behalf, that means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say they're gonna do it, and a lot of people like, well, yeah, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna put forth effort, and a lot of people didn't have to, and they did.
Yeah. That's true. Very good point. So it's fantastic, and it's been I think I can speak for everybody who's raised. It's been our honor to do anything in this struggle and use our platforms to raise any amount of money to help in the struggle, because we all believe in it. We all think it's real. And we all want this stuff to stop. Absolutely. So, any small part we can play, I think all of us are honored to do so. All right. Well, that's a good way to end this fantastically insane and off the rails.
Somebody said Chance is like Dak Prescott.
No, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that. I don't know what that means.
In the chat, somebody say Chance is like.
I'm not saying a word on that. I respect Chance too much. Thank you, everyone, for watching this live episode of Game Time. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching us afterwards, thank you as well for watching. And please leave a comment below or hit that like button, that thumbs up button for us. Give it some love. The more comments we get below and the more likes we get, it raises the visibility of this show and this channel in the algorithm of YouTube. So thank you all so much. Jay and Winston, where can they find you? And then Jay after that, and then I'll wrap up as well.
Right there at the Swaggy Blurred. Tomorrow, Blurreds in the Hood, youtube.com/Blurreds in the Hood, 2 p.m. Pacific. Wednesday, I'm going to be doing one or two things. I've had a little bit of technical difficulties filming. I'll either get that first episode up of PvPN, or I might do a best of what we've done so far as I sort that out, because I can edit that together. Thursday, Swagback Thursdays, twitch.tv/the Swaggy Blurred. We're playing Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country came out in 94. Wow. We got a lot of hip hop that we can tap in 94. 94 was a good year. Other than that, that should be it. You'll follow me on the Twitters, and I can explain more.
There you go. Jay.
Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Mr. J Washington. Join that. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/JAYWashington80. My review of the Five Bloods is up there. The Harley Quinn review with me and Winston A. Marshall. Clearly, I'm going to end up reviewing Stargirl episode 5 by myself, because he hasn't caught up yet. So that'll be up there. What else? The Mad Titan podcast. I try to drop that every single Thursday, get you caught up on all the stuff happening in the Marvel and DC live action cinematic universe. Y'all already know Barbershop Talk for Nerds. Blurreds in the Hood on Tuesday. Tomorrow, next week, I unfortunately will not be here because I'm going home for about 3 days during the week. I'm not even trying to do the weekend where everybody out. I just want to do a couple days where it's contained and I can do chill, because I got to get out of LA. I got to get away from all this, because again, I get it, man. Here, I keep seeing everything, and I just need to refresh. And I'll do, if I can get a good internet connection, we will do the live Blurreds next Tuesday.
Look, I don't fault you, man. You've been doing incredible work. You and Winston appearing on everyone's shows, talking about this stuff. It must get to you all exhausting, because this stuff never ends. We hear more and more stories coming out now. I mean, the stuff that happened at Wendy's, it just doesn't stop, and it's an unfortunate situation.
Now they hanging black people and everybody, and now they're hanging black people again, and police want to keep saying it's suicide.
A fifth one dropped today now in Northwest Houston.
Keep telling us they're all suicides. Here's why I don't think black suicides like that don't happen, because black people barely want to cry in public.
Yep. Look, I'm crying for you. I cried when I read. I don't know. You don't want to show in too much of a sad moment, but I felt like Ruby D at the end of Do the Right Thing, when she sees what happens in the streets there, thinking we had moved past it as a country. Hearing these stories about the lynchings, I actually just sat down and cried on Sunday when I was reading it, because it's too heartbreaking. It's just too heartbreaking that somehow we are marching back into that. And if we don't take more extreme measures to stop this, I think we're headed towards an unfortunate situation down the road. And I don't want us to go down there. So law enforcement, governors, mayors, senators, all need to step up with the most extreme punishments for situations like this. And I'm talking death penalty. I have no problem saying that. Capital punishment for people like this who are lynching black men. That is not our country, should not be our country anymore. And if it still is our country, we need to take a serious look at ourselves and accept that we might have failed in this experiment. And that's the honest truth. I don't want to go any further than that, but that should not be happening in our world, honestly. So that's my 2 cents on it. So, all right, that's it. You guys can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Please don't forget the Patreon right above my head there. A lot of stuff going on there. Just dropped my first The Criterion Corner, where I break down one Criterion disc every month for you all. I do My Darling Clementine, which is a fantastic Western set in from 1946, directed by John Ford with Henry Fonda as Wyatt Earp. So if you're a $10 and above patron, you can go and enjoy that. If you're a $5 and above patron, you can submit your questions for the Outpost, which is my mailbag show I'll be doing on Friday. So the post should be up at the Patreon there with the email address for you to send in your questions, and I'll put your questions on the screen as a graphic as I answer them for you all there for patrons. So those are only patron shows, So, all right, thanks everybody. Much love, and please like and share this video and subscribe to the Outlaw Nation channel as we keep building and moving forward here as a nation and hopefully as a people. Much love to you all. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll talk to you next week with another brand new episode of Game Time. Peace until then.
And I'm in the club, and I get the ladies, and I bring them to the club, and I bring the ladies to the club. I think Game Time at the club with the club at the club. I'm here at the club with the ladies.